Hello.
Hi, Michael Hunter.
Okay.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Good. We're just waiting to get started.
Okay, sorry folks, we already did. She had you on mute.
I was gonna say everyone looks to be have their mics muted and nobody's here, but we are recording. Very good.
Excellent. Any changes, additions?
Well, because they didn't hear,
Okay,
the motion to accept the agenda has been put forth by Matt.
Michael, do I have you as a seconder?
Sure, I'll second that after long deliberation.
Great. Any changes, additions, deletions? Hearing none?
Actually, I did have one other new business. I did
Okay.
send you. I can read what I sent to you, but basically,
Yeah.
oh, you've
I
got
got
it.
it.
You
Yeah,
got it.
put it
Okay.
under new business. Is that all right?
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we're under new business. We'll talk about the special city council meeting, and there's some things that emanate out of that. So we'll put that in new business, and that's what yours is going to
Sorry.
deal with. Great, thank you. All right, hearing no other additions, deletions, adjustments, can I get?
It's because this went out before.
Yes, we'll have to go in camera for one item regarding that. So thank you for that. Any other?
So, are we scratching the city report, or will we receive a city
I'm
report from
hoping that
Sue?
Tyler Sue will
Yeah,
present
okay.
that.
Great.
Gotcha.
Can I get a show of hands on the agenda to approve it? Michael,
Yes.
Andrea,
Yes.
thank you. Carried. Okay, item number 4, declaration of conflicts. Anybody have a conflict? Hearing none. Moving on to item number 5, approval of minutes. The minutes of the board meeting of September 24th, I think.
Yes.
It says July 30th.
You have an old
Sorry.
one.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
September 24th. Sorry about that. Do I have a mover for that?
I'll move.
Thanks, Isaac. Seconder?
I'll second it.
Thanks you, Cindy. Any discussion?
Not seeing anything.
We're good. Hearing none, do I, can I get a show of hands in support of approving the minutes? Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Thank you. Carried. Report of the chair. Well, we had a very uneventful month in the last month, to say the least. No, we've had a very busy month, and my thanks goes out to everybody around this table and around the screen over there for the support. We've had a very active month. There's been lots of challenges, but we respect the process in terms of it is people's rights and obligations as both members and or city council to weigh in on the value and what they think the organization should or shouldn't do. But I'm really thankful for everybody's push around getting things going. We had a delegation at council. We spoke about the report that came out, the 6 recommendations. Very thankful of those recommendations. It supports, and thank you to the staff, Angela and Taylor. Like anything else, Isaac, you said it well, improvements are improvements. We always look for ways to improve, so that's always a great thing. But nonetheless, we found 6 items. We'll talk about it in new business in terms of our action plans and how to proceed with it. But the best news of all, there's nothing that went awry with the money, which, you know, can always happen when you have loose controls. That was the kind of feeling, but there was no lost funds, missing funds, absconded funds, stolen funds, fraud, or anything like that. So I'm really thankful. They took a long time, so I imagine they did a very thorough review. I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to read the entire report, but we'll talk about it in new business, like I said. But that was definitely a challenge for us, but I was appreciative of the fact we had a chance to speak to it. And I think people have reached back and said, thank you for speaking to that matter. So it was great. We had correspondence that we did with Jennifer French and Colin Carey around, I don't want to say walking streets, but it was around safety and security, sort of mental health and illness. Isaac, you joined in on one of the calls, I think, in terms of one of the things we did there. It's interesting. I know neither party that represents us in the downtown core is in any house per se as the house, the power in the house. So it was always a tough call to go, hey, can you help do something for us? But I was pleased. They were very enthusiastic in terms of trying to put something together in a request. Both Colin and Jennifer did put something forward. We're hoping to hear something back from the government. All we can do is hope, try and hope, but we were looking for more support. So that went through. Cindy and I met with Durham Regional Police. You'll do that update in community development. I imagine had a successful town hall to address safety and security downtown. Really informative, lots of engagement there. Really appreciate that work. We also finished the survey on food distribution. Some good news coming out of that. There's some things out of council around trying to clean up that area around Memorial Park. So they found another way to keep the peace amongst all the stakeholders in that particular area. And launched another survey around the safety and security. I think, Taylor, you, I mean, Angela gave that update, but you launched that last week or a week before?
Yes, last Wednesday,
Last week.
I believe.
So the city's looking for that feedback to ensure that they can at least get on side with things like, you know, what more security features do they need? What priorities do the businesses want? And then the sort of, how do they feel about the cleanup and things like that that are going on as well. So I got a heads up that, hey, once we're done that survey, they want to get the results so they can plan around it. Peter's not on the call, but really thankful to Peter. The parking study has come out as phase 1. The conclusions we reported last time didn't look very fruitful in terms of being able to drive our agenda in terms of what businesses want, more parking, more available parking. So Peter has put together a team of folks around ONTAC that are going to participate in phase 2. I've talked to the city to see if they're able to delay their phase 2 conclusions until the end of November when our input can be had. So it'll be part of getting feedback directly from members and putting it in that particular feedback, but also looking at best practices of what standards that exist in other municipalities and what other people have done to try and deal with this issue of parking. So we had some tremendous feedback from members in terms of what they see the challenges are. And let's see if we can get that factored into the report or get the city's experts that are doing that report to adjust and figure out if there's a change that has to be had.
Would that not be a normal part of their study, is talking to those people?
It is, but I don't know that they're getting all the feedback. They're definitely reaching out. I don't know that they're getting the type of participation that reflects that this is a number 3 priority for all our businesses in our survey. So in essence, they're still hearing there's just not enough, but they're not getting enough out of that to know exactly what does that mean. I think it's an issue of really communicating what specifically is the problem, right? As opposed to just volume. Is it not enough parking in front of my store?
Right, but
on the street?
that would be the way to find that out.
It would be. You're right. I would hope they're doing that appreciative inquiry is what you're talking about. Hey, let me understand why you think, because the data doesn't show.
Right.
At a macro level, it's a volume problem, right? It presents as a volume issue, but it doesn't. The data doesn't confer that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just understand. So we have to ask them, hold on, because we're going to do your job and get the input from our members. And
I think if, you know, what's the saying? If the man doesn't go to the mountain's got to go to the man, right? So it's a big issue for us.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to do what we got to do. I'm just wondering why that wouldn't be a part. Anyways.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it's the wrong way they're engaging. I'm not sure. But at this stage, you know, you've been around the longest. You've seen this issue come up many times. It's like, let's put this to bed once and for all.
So no one has come to me as a property owner or business owner and asked me the questions I would think they would want to ask people downtown. Have they approached you? No, well, so that's what I want to understand. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, IBI, I mean, I know that consulting group, they're pretty good. I've dealt with them before in a previous life. I mean, they're standard consulting. I just don't know how it's missing the mark. So it is missing the mark for sure.
Right, well, there's one obvious reason.
Yeah. So this is our chance to put in. So I think
Yeah.
Peter's been great.
That's good. Yeah,
he's
no,
straight up.
so if we can fill in that,
Yeah, so between himself, myself, Dan Hardwick, and the team, we're gonna sort of guide these engineering, urban planner, architecture type students and professionals. Some of them are already graduated,
Yeah.
to do a deep dive on this thing and get it back. What we were worried about was timing on the thing.
right,
Like they needed a 20, 30-day runway to get this done, and their phase 2 is closing at the end of the month. So the city was kind enough to basically go, hey, we'll still take the input. It's not too late. We'll get it in at the end. So I'm thankful for that.
Ivano?
Yeah.
Peter has joined us now.
Oh, hey, Peter, how you doing?
Yeah, hi. I just, sorry I'm so late in another meeting, but so we can move ahead then with the Brilliant Catalyst plan.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful news. I'll let Osman know
Excellent.
if you haven't already, but if
I'm
you have,
going to let him know, but yeah, touch base with him as well.
yeah, well, yeah, for sure. That's great.
Excellent. What else am I missing here? We've had, thank you to the team. We've had lots of complaints about stuff being around the city, not nice stuff. And so a lot of that work goes to Angela in terms of coordinating and getting that over to the city and getting some action and response over to that. That's kind of that's number 2 on our list of unsheltered. Like, what do we do with the unsheltered byproducts that we end up getting with people randomly? And we've seen it. If you walked up Simcoe, somebody dumped the garbage that's there. It's awful looking. So the city will get after it, I'm sure, but it's one of those things about how do we prevent it as opposed to how do we respond to it. So Angela's always working on the recovery piece. I'm not sure what we do about the stop happening piece, but that's something we're constantly getting at the city and seeing if there's a chance some of the outreach community like Backdoor Mission and Welcoming Streets and the Durham Regional Police know these folks to go, hey, cut it out, like stop doing stuff like that. So hopefully that does something, but that's been a thorn in people's side. So outside of that, I mean, it's a busy month. Did I miss anything, Angela, in terms of the activities? We ran our AGM last month, got our budget approved, so that was fine. And between all that, that's all I could remember, but is there anything else that from here?
From my perspective, there's a few things in the office that you just haven't mentioned, like the continual looking for grants, which I'm actually speaking with someone this afternoon about doing a partnering grant. So we'll see the outcome of that. We have placement students looking at updating some of the things like the events guidelines and the application, making it more of an application form for people to fill out rather than, here are some items that you should possibly could address. It's being more directive. And then, the safety and security survey that Taylor got out, all the social media. Taylor has also launched a new campaign called Shop Local, which is more to get people to purchase things online, to think of getting things from downtown businesses for Christmas and things like that. And she has had some uptake on it so far.
The campaign hasn't launched yet, but I've started talking to people and getting names and products to photograph and put out there.
Outside of that, anything else?
Just the regular barrage of questions from the members, concerns. There is actually, I noticed yesterday walking by, Mike's Place is closed down. But if you go 2 doors down, the place that's been empty forever, Grand Central, it's now Grand Central Convenience Store. And the people that were in Mike's Place have moved down there. And it is beautiful inside. I was really impressed at how gorgeous it was. And then we also have Madison Avenue Kitchen, I think, which if you guys aren't aware, they've been open for approximately a month. And they're the back of Mike's Place. So their access is off of parking lot 4, which is behind CIBC, their Italian place. And they're very different from Ciao Amici. When you look at their menu, there's very little crossover. So I think they'll do well.
There's also a new vintage store opening up
Oh, yeah.
in the alleyway just there. They've started painting and doing renovations in there. It's called Baby's Basement.
Great.
They've got a huge TikTok following, so they'll be quite popular with some of the younger folk.
Is there a demographic shift from old to new? Like, I'm always amazed at the fact that you get, you just mentioned it, there's a big TikTok group. I had no idea who these other folks were moving.
The other two are not in the younger demographic.
Because Spark has the sort of the incubator, which has
Yes.
a lot of the young entrepreneurial minds. Are they the ones that are finding their way into these spaces that you talk about that are moving from stage 1 to stage 2?
I don't
No.
think so.
No?
No, I would say not, because those tend to be more technology-based
Yeah.
organizations, right? These, I'm not
Yeah.
sure how.
I know Baby's Basement started online.
Yeah,
Um,
they've
Yeah.
been
And
around
then-
2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was online and then she kind of
Actually-
exploded on social media a little bit and was able to then fund, I think she
Yeah.
crowdfunded a little bit to help get
Yeah.
her.
And one
rent
of our
in.
members suggested the location to her.
Excellent. Good. Members helping members. That's
Yeah.
what it counts. Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. Do we need a motion to accept that update or no?
You could either do it now,
We'll do it at the end with everything else.
or you could do it at the end, yeah.
Perfect. Board administrative issues. I talked about parking, sort of gave that update on that. Peter, I talked to earlier, I don't know when you joined on, but I said November 30th, it goes into phase 2. The city will hopefully like to close that out and go to committee with it shortly after that, unless there's major things they have to do. Is that still on track from your side?
If we move right away, yeah, we've already got a pool of students, as you know. So, if we move right away, we'll be fine with that, I think, yeah.
Good. Thank you, Peter.
I sent an email to Osman and I CC'd you, and if you could maybe just elaborate when you have time, Ivano, thanks.
Processing and tracking member communications. Is that mine, Angela, or did you?
I
What was
don't
that?
recall. Can't remember who put that one on. I think it was a combination. So that's basically just tracking and making sure we have a process for when communications come in.
Right.
Responding. I don't think we've set a timeline, but we try to usually within 48 hours responding.
Yeah, so exactly. So I think it was me that put it on. It was
Yeah.
around, first of all, setting up the emails, so ensure that emails that come into the business get sent out as they needed to for either the board or administration, and then trying to get a formal response to members
Yeah.
as reasonably as possible.
Yeah.
And make it relatively quickly. So,
Yeah.
okay.
And the
great.
distribution seems to be working fine since that got set up, right? Like, I know there were some initial issues, but. it
Yeah,
seems
there were
to
some
be-
initial issues. I believe so.
Yeah.
I think I need to ask them one other question, but
Yeah.
but my understanding is all the board is receiving it.
Yeah, because I know I've been getting emails,
Yeah.
but I just,
Yeah, I mean, I got the one from the communication from Vivian. Did everybody
I
get that
did as
one?
well.
Yeah.
Great, so it is
Yeah.
working then. Great,
I got it and I shouldn't.
okay.
So I've got to make sure that my name is not on there.
Yeah, you're admin, right? You're the admin at Oshawa.
Yeah, so I don't know why it went to me.
Okay.
So I've got to check our IT guy and get that rectified right away.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you.
I know I was on when we were testing it, right?
Yeah.
But it should not go to me at all.
Great.
So
Why shouldn't it go to you?
because I'm not on the board.
Oh, so it's additional.
Yeah.
She has her own, like admin goes to her and
Yeah.
Taylor, right? And the board goes to the board member. So that's
Yeah.
the way we wanted it set up at the time. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I should not be receiving those.
I've
So I'll
been
take care of
getting,
that first thing. this
yeah,
morning.
I've been getting both. People have been
Yeah.
sending me things directly, so I responded as well as coming through that process. So far it's working, but hopefully we let it sit for a while that everything goes through that web portal.
So, do we have, I mean, you've always tracked member communications, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's not something new.
No, it's not new, but I don't think that there's ever been a stated formal practice that we use, right?
Right.
that's
Yeah.
more just for internal, like, is that?
Yeah, it's internal, and
internal
internal
control.
we've always tried to do like within
Yeah.
48 hours, right?
No, but what I mean is at the end of the month, we should be able to say, this is how many members contacted us.
No, but I can do that through emails by looking at the emails, because any email from a member gets put.
No, I'm talking about if, say, a member phones and wants to know when their garbage is, like.
I
that
usually
should be-
don't track those.
Okay.
However, I'm sure by looking at my phone records, we can easily determine that.
Okay, so I think that's something that should be tracked and recorded. It's,
Sure. It's an administrative function. It sort of talks about how often do we get involved to our members' requests. Sure.
right, so it helps us to track
Yeah.
how much interaction there is with us and members, and we can report at the end of the month. This
So-
is how many members.
But then the
called.
question is, how in-depth do you want to delve into that? So do you want us to record when we're out talking with people as well?
If they ask something, I would say yes, but if they're not, if it's just a conversation, I would say no. Like, it's not, I think you're getting at, and I'd like to know, like, again, we get questioned on the administration budget, how many people we have and why do you need so many, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think that's a fair question, but the way we normally respond is we need as many people as it takes to respond to our members, right?
Right.
And if the volume goes up, you go, hey, we need a better way to deal with it or be more effective or whatever the solution is.
Well, and that's one very important reason. Another important reason that we can report, like to council or to whoever is overseeing us, this is how many members called us for help last month.
Yeah.
4 of them were garbage, 10 were needles, you know, like whatever. Like, so this is what we're getting calls about, and this is how many there was.
Yeah, so the peg count is easier than the details, right?
Right.
So I think that's your question, is to try and figure out, well, I like the idea is if the volume that's coming in matches the priorities, like we do the survey to kind of go, hey, that's kind of like a static, what's on your mind right now.
Right.
But whatever we've been doing all year should sort of match that, right?
Mhm.
Just to make sure to go, hold on a second, did we survey it correctly? Because these 3 items are not what's really coming through everything else, right? So far, I think it matches. It's people causing dilemma out in the streets or disrespecting the downtown, which matches the unsheltered. It's the needles. It's the drug use. It's the vandalism, which matches the
Right.
mental health and addiction. And on the parking side, it tends to elevate whenever somebody talks about parking. So when a report comes out or something, then everybody goes, "No, wait, I still have a parking problem." But I haven't heard much on parking. Angela, have you seen anything in general on parking that comes through in the day-to-day stuff?
No, I think that members have just been dealing with the parking issue for a very long time, and they don't mention it as much as they will be mentioning like the unsheltered issues or the garbage.
But for
things like that.
parking hasn't been an issue since COVID because there's less
Exactly.
downtown and
Yeah.
there's no
A lot
pay.
of people ask if it's still free.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not an issue right now. My point is, I think we should be tracking how many interactions there are. Members are calling in for assistance and some kind of idea of what they're about.
Yeah, at least a peg count and then it's top 3 or something.
See,
Yeah.
I do like the idea, like, and I think, like, obviously, if we could report numbers, I think it's that much more impactful in terms of our
Absolutely.
conversations with the council. Now, to that point, though, I think it needs to be, the process of being able to count it, if it's all manual counting, obviously that's a big administrative job. So my question to you would be, what is our email engine on the back end? Because ideally it would be something that would be easy to be able to, like, there would be some sort of maybe plug in with your email that.
It's easy enough to go into my email because I have a folder that says members. And so any email that I get from them just goes directly into there. So that's an easy count, right?
Sure, like in terms of numbers, but in terms of like the content, like but would we?
We could potentially set up like a spreadsheet and then you just
Yeah.
put a tick in it, change the number every time somebody calls. You can have, parking, needles, unsheltered, security, like just kind of create a general list and then
Yeah.
it's easy enough to add.
Because I'll give you an example with the email I use, and this is again an application in my business, but
Mhm.
I will file my emails and
Yeah.
to certain buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if it's an easy, quick one step as I close out an email, just file it in that bucket, and then I can, from a bird's eye view, it becomes.
Sure.
Except if you
there's-
have thousands in there, then
there could be
it's credit per
multiple-
month, right?
Yeah, there could be multiple
Yeah.
subject matter.
I was
in
gonna say,
Yeah.
can we
one
do sub
email.
buckets too? 'Cause it-
Yeah.
So, I'd be happy to even try to mull it over, but if I know
Yeah.
what the email is on the back end, like, what do we
We,
use?
we're using Microsoft.
So
Office
you're using the
360.
Microsoft
Yeah.
suite?
or yeah.
Thanks, Isaac.
Yeah, and I'll take a look at that, see if I can come up with any smart ideas.
Great.
No promises that I'll come up with something, but I'll look at it.
Good. Anything else on that item?
No, so I don't know if it has to be moved or not, but, or motion or not, but I think there should be, we should make the decision to set up a process to keep track of all communications with members, whether it's phone, whether it's on the street, whether it's a question, what is it about? That's.
Yeah, if we had an ED in here that was sort of managing the office, like right now we have Angela sort of
Right.
filling in for it, but yeah, I mean, that would be the function. The board would pass that on to that person and they would institute it and report on it.
I mean, that's my concern is, I love the idea and I think it's very impactful if we can do it. I'm concerned about the resources.
Yeah.
To carry it out at this point, but. you know,
Yeah,
again,
it's a start. Let's
Yeah,
see where we
exactly.
get. I kind of like the
Yeah.
idea. Okay, great. Okay, anything else on that one? Good. Number 8, folks online, committee reports, economic beautification update. Glenn, do you want to do that in Jeanette's place?
I don't. I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
As most of the board members know, for the last 2 months, I've been AWOL. And everyone knows, I think, why that is. I've been extremely, with closing my business and having a new tenant move in and this and that and getting what I'm doing going. It's been very kind of overwhelming and had a couple of rough months, but things are pretty much back to normal now and I'm feeling much better. And so here I am. So I wasn't at the last 2 committee meetings. So I'm not able to do a report.
No worries. Angela, do you want?
There was no meeting this month, as only Jeanette and someone from the city showed.
Okay.
So we canceled the meeting.
Okay. Well,
So after now, I will be at every meeting like I always have been, and I'll be at every board meeting and
good.
be able to contribute and help.
Thanks, Mike. Governance, Michael.
So we met yesterday and yeah, we just went over the report and kind of set out and discussed some of the findings in regards to governance as far as policies and procedures, constitutions, terms of reference, bylaws. And we're going to not do any drastic work or changes until we receive the training and start moving forward with that with the city clerk's office as indicated in the report. So we are ready to go and going to have some questions for the city and as far as some changes to documents and understanding what it is we are allowed and not allowed to do internally versus needing the city's approval.
Great. Thank you for that, Michael, because we are a small group, as I keep, that was kind of my theme in responding. We're a 1 or 2 person organization, being opined on by a 1,000-person organization with 2 city clerks and a whole infrastructure. Not that that's good or bad. It's just an element of you're going to find things. So I really appreciate your skills and experience, Michael, in sort of helping us get straight on this issue of governance. If that's any consolation to you, so thank you.
You're very welcome, and don't overestimate my skills and experience. They're quite minimal in the field of navigating city politics and the rest of things, but certainly I think we're doing my best, and we will pivot and learn as quickly as I can and receive all training and everything like that. So hopefully we'll get up to speed here.
Great, thank you very much for that. Any questions for Michael? Marketing and communications, Isaac.
Yep. So our committee had a busy month this past month. We effectively had a regular meeting, but we also met for a strategic planning session just earlier this week. And so I'll just try to share a few key notables from both those meetings. But before I do so, we also hosted our second town hall this past month. I was told there was plenty of engagement, and interestingly enough, Angela even shared the fact that there were a lot of outside participants that were not connected to our city that participated in that town hall, which was interesting. I just thought I'd share that. Yeah.
Very good
Oh,
thing.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
How do we, we always get questioned on, is this our function? Is this our role or whatever? How much money are we spending on this stuff? I know it's minimal, town halls aren't hugely expensive, but there, so you're correct. I'm going on your theme, Glenn, about value.
Yeah.
Like, it's engaging on an issue that's important to our members and outsiders pitching in or connecting, providing value. How do we measure that and report on it? Did they give any feedback or?
We do send out a feedback survey after. I can pull it up if you want.
Just give us the
But-
highlights of it.
Most people really value the information that they were given. They find it helpful, resourceful. They want to attend another session. Some give suggestions on what they would like to see the next town hall be, and then they rate it overall. So I think we're averaging about a 4-star.
Okay, great. And it's like our communications piece. I mean, these are good stories that we keep inside the house. We don't necessarily tell people that, and so can't really fault people for not knowing the value we provide. So we were talking about newsletters. How do we get that out to people? I mean, I know you guys walk around and do the communications piece. It's always good face-to-face, one-on-one. But how do we, how do we present that out in a way that people would see it, right?
Well, first of all, there should be a report, how many people came, how many board members, how many people out of the board area. And then tracked along with the other communications.
Mhm.
And then you said you send out a survey,
Yeah.
so you get that feedback.
Yeah, so I track who attends, like people who register versus who actually attends. And the survey goes out, but unfortunately that's anonymous. So I can't track who fills out the survey because we don't typically get a full
We
response
don't
rate.
need to know that. All we need to know is in the tracking, how many people responded and what were the responses,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We don't need names, we just need numbers.
Mhm.
And that should be a part of the communications tracking. So that at the end of the month, we can say, this is what we did and these are the numbers, this is what we did and these are the numbers. So there should be like a report done up after the town hall to capture all that. And that should be a part of the marketing, what do we call it?
Marketing comms.
Tracking it.
Yeah.
And then that can all be bundled into a package every month. And then we release it to city, we release it to the media.
Can you go on our monthly news, well, it's not newsletter anymore, monthly.
E-bulletin.
E-bulletin.
We do always have a piece about the town halls in there. Sometimes that's just announcing the next town hall. Like I have one that's set to go out today, but I can change the wording in it because that does announce our next town hall and how to register, as well as how you can watch the videos from the other 2 recorded ones. So I can definitely put a piece in there that says we had a 90% success rate or people who attended versus signed up. I can put something like that in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that should be put in with a monthly communications tracking. And then at the end of the year, that's compiled at the AGM. This is what we say, what we did. We did this, we did this, these were the numbers. This is how many member interactions there were. This is how many outside of the BIA interactions there were. This is how many inquiries came from whatever. And that should be public and made available to everybody.
Yeah, and it's administrative work, but I like
It
the
is.
idea of putting that, it's a scorecard. Put that
Yeah,
scorecard
exactly.
on,
Yeah.
on the website and let people know this is what we're doing and this is
Right.
what you're getting for it, right?
Right.
Again, can't fault people for claiming that we don't know what the value is because we haven't said anything to anybody.
Exactly,
Nor do we
yeah.
report it out. So, yeah, great job on the town hall. But, sorry, Isaac.
Yeah, no
Good job.
problem, no problem. So just along the lines of the town hall and the engagement we had, one of the key themes that came out of our planning session was definitely trying to, I guess, get back to a basic level, just really trying to engage members as much as possible. There was a couple ideas that went back and forth in terms of, how do we do that? And so definitely, as we round out the strategic plan and try to bring it to the board, I suppose some of that will come out, but definitely there were some conversations around that. I think really 2 key things between the planning meeting and in our marketing committee meeting was, number 1, there's a feel for a need for a proper communications plan. That was kind of more of a minor point, but definitely just more of a strategy for how we're going to communicate to members. With just various aspects of our communications delivery, I suppose. But more importantly, I would say, I know that, and I was not on the board at the time, but I was told that there was a strategic plan that was being worked on prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. Matt brought it forward, and I agree with him that there's a strong need for a strategic plan to be done. If we're going to be good stewards of our members' dollars, we better make sure that what we're doing as far as our marketing plan is aligned properly with what the city's doing, that all the stakeholders are kind of moving all in a similar direction. So obviously this is all part of the engagement that we've been talking about with City Hall, with city staff, with members. It's all trying to make sure that everything speaks collectively, and that we're all moving in a similar direction, that we all have buy-in to a similar vision, I suppose. So that's one thing that's strongly heard from both our meeting and the planning session. So that would be something that.
So to your point, I mean, just on the strat plan, we started one. Like we had one that covered 2015 to 2019, that was 5 years.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, we knew that we were ending 19 and we didn't finish it. I mean, we were far short of delivering that 2019. It didn't have the money, didn't have the resources, didn't have a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because it was a pretty bold plan. So it existed. It was Garth's team put it in. I forget who facilitated that.
I'm not sure.
I forget the gentleman you brought in.
It was Phil. In the past, I've engaged Helen Drake from the city.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and she's a great facilitator. And,
Okay.
and I'm sure if we knock on her door, she'd probably be more than willing
Sure.
to facilitate.
So what I was really saying is we started one in 2020.
Yeah.
We got through, I don't know, so
3 sessions?
yeah, 3 of 6 or something
Something like
halfway
that.
through. Got to mission, vision, values, I want to say.
We did mission, vision, I think it was values, and then we'd started the SWOT was the last meeting.
Right.
We did the SWOT, and then there was something else that was.
So the OBIA was doing that one. They were kind of facilitating and organizing it into a think tank. But we never finished it. Sorry, my point is we never finished it.
Yeah, I just brought it up at the marketing communications meeting because I just think as the board of directors, we need to set the vision forward.
Yeah.
So therefore, all the subcommittees then can plan out, for example, the marketing communications, what to market.
Yeah.
For each year. A key thing is we've got to decide. And again, my 5 cents. Feel free anyone to give me change. But what do we want to be? What's the vision?
Yeah.
What's the plan for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? It's written down. It's a blueprint. It's a map, and then all the subcommittees can roll up to that, right? But a key part of that strat plan is getting aligned with the city and making sure that the city has the same vision for the downtown.
Yeah.
And that we're all sort of, and I use this in the meeting, that we're all in the same canoe and we're all paddling in the same direction. Because otherwise, if we're off doing our own thing and the city's got a total different vision, we're not going to get ahead.
Yeah, I like your thinking. I think it may be time to come back and do something like that, regardless of what happens with the stuff we'll talk about in new business. I think it's helpful, at least to the membership in the downtown community, to go, okay, here was the strat plan, whatever it is, and either you everybody lines up to it and it's a go, or something else happens.
And be true in the strat plan, right? Is the goals definitely have to be achievable, right?
Yeah.
And we always tend, and I was really honest in the committee meeting, we always tend to, shoot for the stars and fall short, right? So let's be true. And reasonable to the goals that we can achieve.
Yeah, let's talk
based on the
about that.
resources that we have.
Let's talk about that in new business to go, I think you're right. I think we should do something there, finish that exercise.
Mhm.
We're kind of halfway or a third of the way through, but I think that's a gap we have today that we have to close. To your point, hard to figure out what marketing needs to market when you don't know where you're
Absolutely.
going with stuff.
Yeah.
COVID doesn't help. We know that, but it's not going to last forever. We got to still think of it as a business going forward. So
Yeah, but we incorporate that into the strat plan.
we're on our feet financially, so we're in good shape to be able to go, hey, we got a couple of months, what do we do to plan? So
Yeah, but then we just have, and we roll it into every monthly board meeting, just a re-peg at where we are with the strat plan.
Yep.
Because that's our measuring stick.
thanks.
And then one question I'd have is, are we equipped to properly engage the city right now? So again, our city representative isn't here today, as we know, right? And do we? I just don't know the answer. Like, are we? Who would we engage?
Well, I
and
think
would
the
we-
good news is they just finished and filed their 5-year plan. Like they were in the same boat as us. They were at the end of
Okay.
that. So at least
That's
that's
great.
the starting point for us,
That's
right? So do we line up? somebody has to match up with whatever we come up with to make sure it fits.
Yeah.
And then to your point, how do we engage them?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we'll get a rep, and certainly we have Kyle and Sue on that can
That's
help
right.
with that as well. So
Perfect. Okay. So it
Yeah.
sounds like we're equipped
Yeah,
properly to be able to do
it's
that.
lining up. Yeah.
So
Okay.
sorry, you said the city's plan ended and the city's working on a new plan.
I got something in the email that said they filed a new 5-year plan or new strat plan.
Like 2025?
I think so. I remember the years. They went through an exercise at the end of last year, the start of this year. And I think COVID sort of delayed the reporting out of that. And I think they finalized it during this. I must have got it about maybe a couple of months back. I don't remember exactly when. Maybe Sue or Kyle, do you guys remember? Did you file that latest plan in the summer?
Both on, but they're muted.
Okay.
Actually, Sue is gone.
Okay, it's okay. That's fine. No, it's done. I know they filed it. I just don't know what period. I think they're generally 5 years, but I'll have to go back and.
Yeah, because that was my concern. If we roll out this big strat plan on our own without consultation or collaboration with the city and we miss the mark, then
Yeah.
that was like, we kind of have to do it in conjunction with their plan, and I didn't know they had a plan.
Yeah,
Like,
the
that's
city
such
has to be a
big
part of
thing.
Yeah.
The city definitely has to be a part.
Yeah, they do, and yeah, you're right.
I'm unmuted now, so I can.
Go ahead, Kyle. Did you guys file a plan? Strat plan?
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, so this was an update of the city strategic plan. So it's kind of the highest level strategic document that we've got, and it was passed a few months ago. And I think, Ivana, you're referring to, I think we just did a press release this week or last week, but it's out there, it's been adopted, and it's available. It hasn't changed too much from the last one. I think sort of the biggest changes is that there's a lot more focus on some of the social issues affecting the city than in previous years. And then other than that, it's in many ways the same themes in terms of economic prosperity, good governance, quality service and all of that. So it really is fairly high level. But it's out there, and I think to the conversation around the table, yeah, you just want to make sure that all the pieces are kind of aligned and moving forward together, and I don't see that as a big issue. So it's out there.
Is there a piece specific to the downtown core, or is it just more of a general city of Oshawa?
Cindy, I missed the question.
Oh, sorry. Is there a section or component specific to the downtown core, or is it a general high-level city of Oshawa overall kind of plan?
Yeah, there is nothing specific to the downtown core. It really is kind of high level. Now there are various bits and pieces in it that you could sort of take back into the downtown, but there's nothing particularly specific about it around the downtown in it. It's very much a citywide document.
Will there be a specific economic development plan from the city for the downtown core?
So I guess there's two things that are there. So, one of the action items coming out of the strategic plan is an economic development strategy for the city. And then there is something about continuing to implement and refine sort of the Plan 2020 piece. So we've been asked to come up with what happens, post 2020 in terms of that downtown document. And so we're preparing some draft terms of reference for that. So, in the city strategic plan, it's like, a one sentence piece, continue to work in the downtown. And now it's kind of back to us to kind of figure out what that means and how we move that forward. And we're working on that, those quote terms of reference as we speak.
Do you have a timeline for that, or is there a process, engagement piece?
Well, the terms, I think the terms have to be done pretty well in the next month. And, we'll talk to you guys about that. And then we'd be really looking more for a 2021 sort of process and implementation of kind of that refresh of Plan 2020.
Kyle, does that strat plan cover a 5-year period, or does it give any time horizon on that?
Generally, it's term of council.
Okay, 2022, right? Or 23?
So, Yeah, after the next municipal election, city council will look at it again and say, okay, do we need something new, different, or just, tweak it?
And,
Which is kind of what happened this time.
and is it in the high level plan? Like the last plan sort of spoke to the downtown as revitalize the downtown core, promote economic development in the downtown core. There were some specific downtown activities in the last one. And I'm not sure if that's not in the detail
There
that
are-
you're referencing that has to still be done.
There's a couple of things, but I mean, I think we still talk about broadband in it. We still talk about Plan 2020, but it doesn't go any deeper than about that level.
Great, thank you. Isaac, anything else? Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just going to try to breeze through a few more last points, but there were some great things that came out of our strategic planning meeting. Thank you to Taylor, who's helping us take the bar up even a little bit higher by helping us adopt a brand guidelines document that we could refer to, which didn't exist before, which is just going to help us kind of have a more professional communication with any of our marketing and advertising campaigns so that we can stay consistent. We also worked a little bit to review the current mission and vision statements. There was a little bit of massaging that was happening in our planning meeting, which again, we will seek to bring to the board potentially at a future meeting. Outside of that, one last exciting thing to bring to the table in our committee meeting, we're in the midst of exploring a strategic partnership with the faculty at the marketing and advertising program at Durham College to see if there's, it sounds like there's some opportunity to partner with the college to try to support members with some marketing and advertising students when there's any marketing needs that they have. My understanding is that that basically the students, as part of their curriculum, they need to get some practical experience. And so it's a great way to help match those students with some businesses that have some marketing and advertising needs. And it's a great way just to help those businesses out, especially at a time like now. So that's a partnership that we're exploring right now. There's already been some members who have taken advantage of that, kind of more informally, that partnership. So far, it sounds like there's been some early successes there. So we're just trying to see if, taking it a step further, if there's something we can maybe formalize there. But yeah, it's a great way to engage with stakeholders in Durham College and try to deliver value for the members. So
great.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks, Isaac. Good job.
That is.
Community development, Cindy.
Okay, so at our meeting, we updated the committee on our meetings with Durham Region Police. So that seems to be like a really great working relationship. They appear to be more than willing to work with us as far as communicating hotspots downtown, businesses that need help. They seem to be responsive to adjusting their patrols and their services according to the feedback we give them. They're also willing to provide us with stats, potentially every month, regarding their calls, what they're responding to and whatnot. So I think they're in a state of flux too with COVID, and some people are working from home and taking on different projects. So they're working on their consistency and their ability to give us those stats, and then we have to figure out how to roll that out to the membership in the best and most
Sorry,
way.
what my takeaway with that meeting was, it was a little odd, but it was interesting. The number of extreme sort of crime is coming down, which perked my ears up to go, well, but there's a lot of things being reported. And they said, yeah, you're right. The number of nuisance activities has gone up tremendously. So it seems like it's a shift of crime, even though there are some still bad crimes, gun, attacks, those kinds of things. We've seen them in the paper. That they said have come down quite dramatically, but the number of nuisance calls has gone up quite dramatically, which kind of resonates with what we're experiencing. What remember was telling us, right? Just people hanging around, loitering, vagrants.
Does that kind of coincide with the handing out food at lunchtime because it's just drawing more people down, right?
There's certainly a volume thing. They recognize the volume has gone up in terms of players involved, but they can't. What was your sense? Nobody's keeping track. Like, it's not we're tagging people and we go, oh, it went from 50 to 500. They definitely see the volume of people, and they're obviously more.
So you can read between the lines and come to your own conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, they express frustration too. There's a lot of systems issues that are huge because they charge people or arrest them with the court backlog and everything. It's just kind of this. There are a lot of bottlenecks. Mental health and addictions bottlenecks, court justice bottlenecks. So right now it's a challenge for them, and I think everybody's frustrated with the situation. So
Sorry, my ignorance on this, but is someone also meeting from the city with you guys on this? Like when you're having no one?
Nobody showed, but we meet with the mayor sort of the odd weeks, right? And so far it's been fairly regular, but it's been odd weeks around covering the same topic about what's the priorities, what are we finding. There seems to be an opportunity because the city had started something around coordinating this.
yeah.
And the police, in our discussions, the police had said, hey, we'd like to revitalize that group to kind of deal with, I call it case management. I forget what it was called, but it was around trying to identify cases and shepherding people through cases. So the city's involvement in that seems to be a facilitator, enabler, and connector of those services. So we're trying to approach them on that to see if they would reconstitute that and get that going again. It stopped at the start of the year. They were getting together to do it. It stopped. The police had said,
I just think
"We'd
about that's a big thing. And again, my 5 cents is that any member engage their local counselor or counselors on the issues too, and tag them in any correspondence, because again, it's a city problem. Like, yeah, we hear about it, and we're doing our part, but again, we can't tap all the resources as an organization to combat this. The city has to really lead the charge on this.
Yeah, so I mean, we did table the item of private patrols versus policing versus the justice issues.
Yeah.
Like, there are gaps in this whole thing. That's why this Connect group at the city would play an important role, so that everybody's roles and responsibilities are clear and people can take on cases. And to your point, as a property owner, you go, oh, there's something going on in my back alleyway. It's your property. Police will say, well, it's your property.
No, I know, and as you know, that one correspondence, and there's been
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that city council response.
I was too, right?
Yeah.
And I did take it
Didn't
further.
do anything.
No, I did take it further and appreciated everybody else that was on the email to have a better response back. But again, that shows, and that's the councilors then issue to fight. But I think we have to encourage our members to loop them in, so at least they understand and see the matrix of how concerning that it is.
So we did table the sort of private security versus the policing side, and is there an integration in a coordination role in there? There was some interesting feedback on that, but our latest survey will sort of highlight, the issue with City Hall trying that private security, and it brought out a lot of ugly emotion.
Yep.
People will pick sides in terms of winners and losers in that approach. So we're trying to give the business and property owners perspectives to go, well, it's an issue. How to tackle that issue, we'll leave that to the city, but are we in support of doing something about that or not? So that's kind of the thrust. We're trying to figure out, and so does the city. They want to see the results coming back from that survey. They go,
Yeah,
hey,
no,
should we do
and
something
don't get
more?
me wrong, I'm not taking away from anything that the great work that you guys have done, but I really want to see this driven to the city, and to me, it's a.
Yeah, I think the city's definitely looped in. I think the nice piece with us having that direct connection with DRPS is that it's the nuance that we have that direct connection. And I think Angela, the police actually contacted Angela for help. And so we're developing this whole back and forth communication piece where the police had noted, hey, this is going on. And I don't even know the specifics of the details.
Yeah, so there was 2 individuals and they were asking if there were specific organizations that we could help connect them with, help connect the police with, so that they could take those individuals or walk around and find those individuals and get them the services that they directly needed.
Yeah, so it's that kind of immediate relationship, and the city is well aware, and they're looped in on a lot of this stuff. So it's not like we're doing it like incognito behind the city's back, so to speak, but it's that direct kind of feedback back and forth between DRPS and us, and the city is aware. I mean, I think Mayor Carter is really advocating DRPS for more services downtown too. Like it's kind of a really hot issue right now. So.
Well, absolutely, but again, the respective councilors have to be looped in as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, to be honest, they're first on the peg list in my books.
We can invite them to the meetings for sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
we
just
can take
as a
that.
suggestion.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
again, and you guys have seen every email that I've sent out to a concern, I've always looped them in. Whether I get the pleasurable response or not, that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I was saying that's the issue is whether they're committed to the same process. But we'll invite them to the meeting.
But there's a way of
for
handling
sure.
that, right?
Yeah.
Which like I did in the last one is then I can escalate it as my choice to who I desire to escalate it to, but at least give them the fair chance to be involved and
Yeah, no,
engage if they
that's-
want to as the city elect. But I just think, it is a city issue that they've
Yeah,
got to take
no, great
seriously.
idea. We'll keep that moving forward. Thank you.
Sorry, Cindy, keep going.
So as Isaac mentioned, we had the town hall on safety and security. It was well attended. The panel consisted of DRPS, emergency services, fire, and bylaw. There were some good presentations and some really good questions asked. So I think that was quite good. And the next town hall is regarding kind of supports and services to help businesses downtown during COVID.
We
So
posted those videos too, right? We recorded and posted those town halls.
yes.
Great.
YouTube. Welcoming streets update. I'm not sure if Sue is back online.
She will be.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, back online.
So
She's got it.
she's just joining now.
Having internet problems, but I'll.
Listen,
All right, I'll wade in. And actually, it's a good time. I was going to save it for the city update, but this is a good time to bring it up. So on the welcoming street stuff, and I'll let Sue sort of add. We're in the process of putting forward a report for November 9th at the Development Services Committee with respect to the Welcoming Streets Initiative. And it's really got sort of two thrusts to the report. One, we think it's actually kind of a nice initiative, and we'd like to see it sort of continue going forward. And the other piece on it, which will consume probably most of the discussion, is really trying to kick it upstairs to the region as sort of the major sponsor and supporter of this, given the fact that local municipalities really don't have much of a mandate around some of the social services stuff. We get involved in it because we need to, because it's happening sort of on the street, that, if you will. So that's kind of the second piece of the recommendation, is that we really ask the region kind of to take this over. And we've got some support from Carrie and others, because it just makes some sense, because they've got a lot of things that are happening around the social services sort of file at the region. So that's coming forward on sort of November 9th. We got some interesting kind of statistics in it in terms of, the number of clients that they've been dealing with, which is over 700, but it's the number of interactions that they've got with the clients. This is really amazing. So, it's on average, it's like 10 per sort of client. Takes a while to build the relationship, get to know them, sort of help them move on, that sort of piece. So that's kind of where we stand with the welcoming streets. We'd like to see it continue through 2021. Plan B, which is probably not for the minutes, is that if in fact the region doesn't do it, then what's going to happen? And I think then the city said, okay, then fine, we'll look at it and see what we can do to continue it. So we do see it continuing going forward. Actually, if I could ask the board this morning, could we get a very sort of simple, just official board resolution that you kind of support the direction that we're going? I know that we've been talking to Ivano directly, and he's indicated as the chair that sounds reasonable. But I think it would be very helpful if we could just sort of get a very short and simple sort of board resolution.
Ivano, can I make a comment?
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, just highly supportive of that. I know that there's some people that think this is a waste of money or what have you, but I think it's actually made a tangible difference in some people's lives. I did have one question. Kyle, you mentioned 700, I don't know what term we're using, clients, I guess. Is that 700 interactions or
Clients,
700,
yeah.
700 different individuals?
No, that's 700 clients. Yeah, it's 700 individuals, 700 plus individuals, and then they've also been tracking sort of the interactions. How many times are they dealing with sort of people on sort of various issues?
Right.
So it's 700 plus clients, if you will, individuals.
Yeah.
And then on average, it's like 10 per. So this is, when we first saw the number about, 7,000 plus interactions, we're going, oh my God, that's huge.
Right.
So we needed to go back to them and differentiate between individuals and sort of just, the interaction, the touch that they've got with them.
Yeah, no,
So it's a big number. I mean, it really is.
It really is. And that's got to get stressed, I think. Huh? And so I'd be very supportive of a motion. I don't know how others feel. But I also am very supportive of the idea of kicking this up to the region. Where is the region's support on this? Especially when Oshawa obviously has a disproportionate number of cases, right? So yeah, very supportive of the report. Thanks, Kyle.
Just, sorry, I'm back in live again. So Kyle, I don't know if, the interactions are almost 8,000, 7,661, excuse me. And so the client is over 725 of different individuals. And that's up to the beginning of October.
Thanks, Sue. Peter, either Kyle or Peter, if you can sort of just put a word motion or your thought. I heard Kyle say.
Mr. Chair,
Len.
I weigh in on it. I just wait for 1 second. Just share an observation that happened.
Sure.
For everyone here. Thank you. It's Daryl Sherman, Wilson Furniture. If you can hear me, I just want to share an observation. 2 weeks ago, our staff witnessed a situation with an individual across from our store who was in distress. They called the Welcoming Streets hotline number that was provided several months ago, and they were advised that the folks at Welcoming Streets were not attending the client. I do believe that they forward the information along, so I'm just wondering if there's a clarification as to what role Welcoming Streets has and the information that has been provided to the businesses to call, is that still current, active, or something has happened? And I'd like it to be noted, and if there's some sort of an update for the businesses, that would be helpful. Thank you.
So I think if I paraphrase the question, is it still active in terms of Welcoming Streets? They had an issue, they expected someone to attend and it didn't happen. So do you know if it's still running?
I'm sorry, if the Welcoming Streets is still running?
Yeah, I think I see Carrier around, but it's still part of Welcoming Streets, correct?
Absolutely. Carrie is part of the Welcoming Streets. So absolutely, they are out there every day, Monday to Friday. They're out there 9 to 5. There's 2 people out there. Daryl, I'd be more than happy.
Sorry, so is it going to the end of the year?
Yes. Yeah. So what we're looking at, we have, if
At
you
this point,
did an extension to December. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh no, I was just going to say, yeah, it's funded until the end of the year. This is why we're doing the report now, to try to set it up for next year.
Can you take it back? I don't remember whether they will actually respond with someone in distress, or like, is that a 911 call and they sort of say there's not much they can do? I forget. It seems like it was in distress, and was it a 911 and they couldn't go, or was it a mistake?
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah. I just don't know whether that was a. Anyways, I'll leave it with them and say that incident. But
I can contact you.
Sure.
I can do I'm more than happy to have a sidebar with Daryl, or actually, I was on a walk last week. I was also out there yesterday. Yesterday, actually, there was a lot going on in downtown, and there was a lot of DRPS, and the outreach workers were there. They also have put out, we've circulated all the businesses, more than happy to send again to you, Daryl, or have a conversation with the outreach workers. They've put out cards of when to call outreach workers, when to call Durham Regional Police, when to call 911. And there's sometimes a little bit of confusion is right away to call the outreach workers when there's, if someone's ODing, or someone is aggressive, then it needs to be a 911 or Durham Regional Police. But what I'll do, Daryl, more than happy to meet with you at your business with the outreach workers. Have you met them?
No, he hasn't.
Okay. All right. So I will do that. So just to be clear, right now there's 2 outreach workers weekdays between 9 and 5, and part of this going forward for next year is to increase the presence, because we know that during the evenings is when also people need more support, businesses and the homeless. So we're looking at part of that extension for 12 months is to increase the another worker.
Okay. Another question for you?
I just have a question. In the new proposal, is there some mechanism built into the program for feedback and evolution of the services provided? Because I know initially it's to build rapport and to get to know the unsheltered, and like if the program extends onto that, how is it going to evolve, and what kind of feedback are you soliciting to ensure the program is effective and doing what it's supposed to be doing?
Sue, did you hear the question?
So
Yes, I did.
Little information.
Key, you're breaking up.
So Cindy, to your point, I think, Cindy, to your point, I think, part of the rationale for trying to kick it up to the region a little bit is just to force a lot of those conversations to happen in terms of that whole coordination, and does it need to, evolve a little bit or refocus that. So I think that's the expectation. We're just trying to find it a home. We think it's a valuable exercise. It's just not quite core to city mandate. So this is kind of what's pushing this to a little bit, but let's not de-emphasize sort of our commitment to it. It's the fact that we just trying to get it in a little bit more sustainable position going forward. And then a lot of those other conversations will happen as we get there.
Kyle, can you think of the wording on a motion? I think Peter's willing to put the motion forward while Cindy continues with the update. We'll get that motion at the end. Is that all right with you guys?
That's fine. We have a meeting. We've gone through about, I guess we're on our 5th draft of the report, and we've got a meeting tomorrow at the end of the day just to try to finalize this. So just, yes, if you're able just to get something to us today, we can go back and forth after on just what that could look like. That'd be greatly appreciated. And then just to follow up to your point, Cindy, is this has been a pilot project, as you know, with we've worked through sort of the best model, and it's pretty fluid, it constantly evolves. Also, I think part of that punting it over to the region, if you want, is that we're not the only ones, obviously, with these issues. Is now other municipalities in Durham Region are reaching out to carry it to say, okay, well, you know what, how can we do this with you? So I think that will give it more strength. More what you're looking for is that not just the quantitative, but the qualitative results. And we're working through that. But the more this becomes a larger model with the region, as you know, there's so many different organizations all jumping in, we'll have a little bit stronger model going forward.
The only concern I had, Sue, it's Ivano here. The only concern is how do we articulate it for the downtown? Like, our membership is downtown. I appreciate, the effort will be applied across the city. We just got to find a way to articulate to our members who are seeing and feeling this, that, they're still getting the same, if not more, response or improvement. We don't have to answer it here. It's just, I want to be able to make sure that we could respond to our community, that it's a top priority and it's got more attention, not less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Okay, sorry, just for a sec. Peter, I see your hand is up, and I'm not sure if you had something that you wanted to add.
No, I'm sorry. That was for my previous comment. My apologies. I will lower my hand.
Okay.
Thanks. Cindy.
Okay, so
Yes, so Ivano, to your point, I think it's fairly straightforward. It's, be it resolved that, the Board of Management supports the continuation of the Welcoming Streets initiative and agrees that it would be best placed as kind of a regional service.
I was good up until the regional service thing, Kyle.
I hope, Angela, you caught most of
it. We don't want to opine on where it sits. We're just looking for more, right?
Well, I think there's two pieces. It's about keeping it going, but then also some support for kicking it up to the region.
But also specific to the downtown core, because I'd be worried if the resources are spread across Durham, that takes away.
Yeah.
from us.
Oh, no, and that's fine. But,
Okay.
and obviously, you know, and you could put something there about, so to meet the greatest need.
Yes. Give it a bit more thought, Kyle, because I just want to let Cindy, I want to go through all the committees first, and then we'll come back to it as a resolution at the end of the committee updates. Is that all right? Good.
Yeah, that's good, Evan. Yeah.
So we also had an update from the GAP committee. So Daniel, Colin, and Rick Kerr are co-chairs on that, and they are apparently training or getting more peer support workers out in the community to build rapport with the shelter to try to make those connections. Let's have an update on the RAD project. So Angela, I'll turn that over to you.
Well, we tested the ramp on greater than 4-inch inclines, which it doesn't work, so we'll have to look at expanding that. But with the other stuff, we haven't had much time to go around or go back to the companies to find out the other options for the ramps, which is hopefully our focus for the next couple of weeks is to get that, because it'd be nice to get those rolled out, at least to get to the ones that have the up to 4-inch incline. Oh yeah, so the Remembrance Wreath, we got a request for that. The city, or not the city, sorry, the BIA in the past has always purchased a wreath. Usually there's a parade and we ask someone to walk through the parade and set it. So this year they're doing things differently. And they are having select service people do this, and they're filming the Remembrance Day service. They're not having it open to the public. The other thing with that, though, you also notice that some of the banners from the Legion have gone up. Hopefully by the end of this week, beginning of next week, the others will be up. There was a little bit of delay in printing as the printer ran out of ink. So the other banners are set to arrive around noon today. But they will be up well in advance of Remembrance Day.
Great. That's it. Great. Any other questions for Cindy? Andrea, events?
She's not on, is she?
Yeah, she.
Hi, Steph. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself, Glenn. So events right now is a bit dormant with the current COVID temperatures. However, in the meantime, in between time, we've been taking a look at the event guidelines and just how we can more refine the processes involving events. We have a guideline in place, and we're asking people when they come up with ideas or suggestion for events to put forth a proposal. So I've asked Angela, in addition to the proposal, if we can look at having an application process of sorts, and just having that application process be a bit more granular in maybe enumerating what is being proposed, as in, you know, they say talk is cheap. Somebody put forward an idea and it's like, oh, great, wonderful, and you roll with it. But then you realize there's all these other things that's required in addition to finance. So like labor or time, additional resources, volunteers, and stuff like that. So that's what we're currently taking a look at and working on. And then it would just give us a better idea of how that proposed event fits into the budget. If we have the money for it, maybe we need to look at grants or things like that. So I guess right now it's just admin, back-end stuff for events. Nothing eventful happening right now.
Very good. Thanks, Andrea. Any questions? No, none. Great. Hearing none. Finance and audit, you have 2 items to cover here. On the 2019 status of the audit, I know that since the city's forensic audit report came out, Deloitte has finally responded to us. So the fact that a month early they talked to us about the 2020 audit schedule was a little disconcerting, that we kind of forgot about 2019. but they still didn't respond on the status until the city audit report came back, which tells me that they might have been involved in some way, shape, or form. Auditors tend to do that. They don't opine and respond on things that might be a potential conflict. So the good news is I think they were involved in the review, and great news is they provided their professional advice and help in terms of guiding our improvements. They asked, I don't know, Angela, there was 10 follow-up questions or so.
10, I'd say it was worked out to about 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Because there were some parts in a couple of them.
We responded to all of them in 24 hours or within a day or two?
Within probably, by the end of that day, I had responded to about 10 of them. There were some that were directed to Mohammed that I couldn't respond to, and he responded to them. By the end of the day, he explained that he couldn't get to them right away, but that he would get to them within the next 3 days. And I believe that he had, he met that obligation for sure.
Yeah, so within the end of the week, we had the
Yeah,
responses?
by the end of the week, I think it was by the end of Thursday, they had all of the responses, and I have not seen anything come back.
The only thing that came back is they're on holidays till November the 5th.
Yeah, exactly.
But when was that?
That was last week.
That was last week when the audit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm expecting, I saw the questions. I think it's standard set of questions.
Yeah,
I don't
was-
think there's anything there that's going to trip us up.
Yeah.
I'm
So we're not
expecting-
getting it till December sometime?
I think so.
Yeah, we don't know.
They're not working on our responses until after November the 5th. I would
Right.
expect, give them a week or two, probably sit down with the client, which is the city, and go over the audit letter and then issue something, I guess, from that. That's generally maybe end of the month, beginning of next month.
Yeah.
Following month. Good? So, yeah, it is. I'm not really happy, and that's my disappointment, but it is what it is. I guess we haven't heard bad news. The good news is timing, that's all. In terms of September financials, they're in front of you. Nothing significant to remark about. Just I'll point out a couple of things for your review on the income statement. The summer subsidy program, we know it. We qualified and we're getting it. We just haven't received the funding yet.
Which, the summers. Oh, from this year?
Yes,
Actually, I think it has now come in,
great.
but it'll be for October, not September.
Great. So that's a good news story for us. The other thing I will highlight is we did get more sponsorships and grants and other revenues respecting members' money. We're 183% of what our plan was, which is fantastic. So thank you very much to those folks. Our strategy here, and we'll talk about it as one of the questions around why we incorporated, was to qualify for a lot more grants so that we put less pressure on the levy paying members and get more funding and contributions from other sources of revenue to revitalize the downtown and achieve more for our members. So yeah, we don't see anything there that's going to be on the revenue side. That's going to be a bit of a miss. Councillor Gray caught me on, I'm not an accountant, so he caught me on the HST rebate. Did you catch that one?
Well, I saw it, but
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, he's right, but yeah, contra accounts are a little bit of a challenge for people who aren't financially astute. So it's a good, he pointed it out, but this is really a cash budget that we're working on. The good news story is I think on the revenue side, we're in good shape, and I think we'll land in good shape at the end of the year. If you look at the disbursement side of the expenses, administration is fine, is running according to our plan. Some little pieces moving around in between the actual account items. Promotion is running fine. Again, little pieces in there. I think there's nothing really highlight there. On the event side, what you'll see is two things that I'll note. One is the Bright and Merry. That's the payments of the.
So the Brighton Mary, that's actually a refund?
No, that's what the September activity is.
Yeah.
But the overspend on the year was really our approval to move ahead, make the payments on the products. We decided that while we're not running the event, we're still committed to buying the products and we'll reuse it in future years. So that was an overspend there. And then the Troubadour series seemed like it was a successful event. It was an unplanned event, but we sponsored it. And we, it's nice to see that we got mentioned in an article that highlighted our involvement in that with Alexis, I think, right?
Yes, big
is it Big K?
Big development.
Big development. It's great to see a 50-50 partnership. Thank you to Taylor and Angela, who worked really hard at making that work well. it was convenient and effective for the funding from the BIA to flow to the performers. That was very good because there's last minute shuffles and that all the time throughout the campaign, but it went very well. And then we provided signage and a bunch of other things and coordination and tents and I'm not sure what else. So thank you to those folks. But again, that was an unplanned spend and nice to see that we're able to work with our members that wanted to see that move ahead. So the good news is we can be flexible, adaptable, and do the right thing. So good news for our members that had that entertainment. Those are the only two moving pieces on the expenses, which show us going over, which I'm not too worried about because when you look at the overall bottom line, physical improvements, no changes there. We're tracking back to a plan that I think we can manage to the end of the year. So we're out of the distress mode that we had in June and July with all the adjustments, and we're landing it nicely as we get to the end of the year. So, the balance sheet is attached, and the details on the events that are on the expenses are attached as well. Nothing really to report on that side. Any questions? Hearing none. Can I get, first of all, can I get a motion, before we come back to you, Kyle, can I get a motion to approve for information the report of the chair, the board administrative issues, and the committee update reports that were just presented?
Can move that.
Thank you, Cindy. Seconder? Thank you, Glenn. Any discussion? Since we had a lot of discussion. No? Hearing none, can I get a show of hands? Peter?
Yes, support. Yeah.
Michael? And Andrea?
Yes.
Thank you. Jeanette's on?
Yes.
Jeanette?
Yes, sorry, I apologize. I will not be voting on it as I did not hear the whole of it. I apologize. I have been having connection issues and I just keep getting kicked in and out. So.
Okay, you're abstaining. Thank you. Michael?
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
You can.
Okay. Yes. Sorry, I have to step away from my computer for a few minutes, but I'll be back as soon as I can. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you, Michael. Okay,
So-
Carrie.
We should have a motion for the financial statements.
Separate?
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the September financial statements, correct? Len? Isaac, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Peter, for the financials for September?
In favor.
Andrea?
Yes.
Jeanette?
Yes.
Thank you. And Michael's away.
Yeah.
Okay. Carried. Okay, Kyle, can we come back to your motion now?
He sent it in an email.
Okay, can you read it?
I can. I will just pull it up here.
Mr. Chair, if I could beg your indulgence, I've got to get off onto another call right now, but there's a couple of things I just wanted to table or sort of comment, and Sue can fill in a lot of the detail.
Okay.
So this is, you guys already talked about parking. That was on my list, so that's done. We talked about welcoming streets. The A-frame signs that program that the city's put in for those signs on the street, we're extending the program till 2024. So that's going forward. Sue can talk about developments, sort of what's happening in the core. Just so the committee knows, the Economic Recovery Task Force will be launching our Oshawa Loves Local sort of campaign, ideally tomorrow, to sort of get that out, and really need to work with the BIA to sort of push that out through the stuff. And you guys are already doing some work on it in terms of downtown shopping and stuff. So I think there's a good connection there. And then kind of my final little piece is that there was a very quick email from, I believe, Angela, going back a number of months about looking at sort of temporary loading zones in the core. We just need a little bit, something a little more official from the BIA actually asking the city to explore this and to implement if possible. So again, a little small resolution if you guys could do that today. And sorry, but I've got to go. So I'm just going to turn it over to Sue to fill in any of the rest of the gaps, unless there's a real quick question here.
Okay, well, we'll come back with Sue. Thanks, Kyle. Let's go back to that motion that Peter was going to make.
Yeah, and,
So, yeah,
and I think the other thing I'm going off to won't be long, so I may come back.
Okay, thank you. Can you read the motion?
Yeah, so it's be it resolved that the BIA Board of Management encourages the city and region to continue the Welcoming Streets initiative through 2021, focusing in particular on the needs of the downtown core, and supports having the region taking on the lead role with respect to delivery of the initiative.
Peter, are you good with it? Are you putting that motion forward?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess when it comes to the region, you know, is that a sensitive issue? Are we being too assertive with this? Should we say instead that, you know, that and encourages the possibility or the exploration or something, or should we be more assertive? I sort of leave that to open discussion. I'll support the motion, and then if someone feels we should change it, they can suggest a friendly amendment. Okay?
So it's up. Anybody want, we need a seconder? And Andrea or Jeanette, online, anything? Michael?
Go ahead and step away. Right?
Yeah, it's still away.
Did you guys want me to read it again?
Yes.
Okay. Be it resolved that the BIA Board of Management encourages the city and region to continue the Welcoming Streets initiative through 2021, focusing in particular on the needs of the downtown core, and supports having the region taking on the lead role with respect to delivery of the initiative.
So it kind of puts the region as like a volunteer, I think. It doesn't say must have the region. It says supports the region taking on the role. So that
Yeah.
Control it.
We want the region to fund it, but not necessarily be actively.
That was going to be my point.
exactly.
So I think the one
Just
word
take
we
out
can
the
insert
last-
there is where it was with respect to funding
Was
the
that-
delivery of the initiative.
Yeah.
That's maybe how I could see it being massaged.
Yeah.
Maybe leave that.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I
Sue
was waiting
has
to see
her
if there's
hand
a
up.
second.
Okay, go ahead,
So,
Sue.
go ahead, Sue.
I was just going to share with you that the what's in the fourth draft of the report is exactly from the report. It says the region of Durham be requested to participate in Welcoming Streets initiative by contributing to the program as a municipal funding partner. So just to be clear, and I think that's why I put it in the chat with Cindy's good question on you don't want the funding diluted, is for that report that we're asking for the January to December 31st, 2021, the funding that we're asking for is just for downtown Oshawa. Okay, so just so we're clear on that. So we're asking that they become a funding partner.
Right, so the last part of that motion has to be.
So then, yeah, maybe it reads at the very end, supports having the region partner. No, I'm getting the wording wrong here.
I can cut and paste that and I'll send it to Angela if you want that as part of the resolution, because I think if I'm reading it correctly, you want to make sure that they're not controlling it, but they're a funding partner.
Correct.
Yeah, I think you're right, Sue. I think if you just, it's that ending one. If you just show them as the funding partner, I think that that at least alleviates one concern that somebody's raised. So, okay, great.
Okay, will do.
You want to send that to Angela? What else is
right now?
Yeah. Okay, Peter, can I skip to you as the post-secondary update? I'm going to try and get some stuff off the agenda while Sue's working on that.
Well, you know, the only thing I would I'd stress in terms of the downtown, you know, we are still online for the winter term. We do have some labs that my psychology department runs, but for the most part, with the exception of some employees that are in the Charles Street building, most of our buildings are pretty vacant right now. We anticipate this will be the situation until May. We're hoping to have a return to campus for our summer courses, and of course next fall. We can anticipate that moving forward, all the universities, including Trent and including the DC College, Durham College, we'll probably have a heavier online presence now that we've invested so much infrastructure in developing courses. So that that doesn't mean, however, that there won't be students downtown. The new student residence has opened. It's pretty well empty now, as you can imagine, but I think next fall we're hoping that there'll be more students living downtown as well. So that's important. And yeah, if there's anything else in particular I can help you with, please let me know. More of our actions taking place in the North Campus right now because we have so many engineering labs, as you know, Ivano, and great stuff happening with the the automotive industry and so on. But
Great, thank you for that update. Do we need a motion to accept that update, or we just accept it?
We usually do a motion to accept the city report and post-secondary.
Okay, can we get a
So we can do a separate motion, or we can do them together.
oh, why don't we do them together just for efficiency? I'm trying to get the meeting agenda done and stay on time. So does someone want to move the city report update and the post-secondary update provided? As is, just do Glenn. Yep. Glenn, Isaac, thank you. Show of hands. Approved. Jeanette?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Peter?
yeah, and I'm very sorry, I forgot to mention, but I put it in chat that we're working on a new course to work with the BIA and the City Idea Lab. So sorry, but if everyone can check out the chat, I think that's an important part of this report. Maybe you could mention it. I'm sorry I didn't do it verbally. So, but yes, I do. I vote to support.
Great. And Michael, is Michael on?
I can't tell if he's walked away still or not.
Okay.
So I can read out.
Okay, so let's go back to the motion. So Peter, you're still on, and I hope you're listening. Okay, go ahead, read the motion.
Okay, so the motion, or what Peter didn't say?
No, the motion.
From Sue.
From Sue, yes.
Okay, that the region of Durham be requested to participate in the Welcoming Streets initiative by contributing to the program as a municipally funding partner.
Yeah, that's the second half of the motion.
Yes.
Okay.
Split it into, like, just put them together.
So we've still got the first half there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
read the whole thing.
Okay. Be it resolved that the BIA Board of Management encourages the city and region to continue the Welcoming Streets initiative through 2021, focusing in particular on the needs of the downtown core, and supports that the region of Durham be requested to participate in the Welcoming Streets initiative by contributing to the program as a municipal funding partner.
Okay, Peter, you're good?
Yes.
Do I have a seconder? Len? All in favor? Andrea?
Yes.
Jeanette?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Michael? He's not, okay. Carrie, thank you. Okay, next item I'm just going to skip to is correspondence. There are two pieces of correspondence in the package. One acknowledging a letter received from Mayor Carter on the things that are happening in the downtown. Cindy mentioned a few of those items. I've talked about it. I think Peter's mentioned one or two of those items as well. We're going to post this, or we already have, I guess, on the website for members' review. Any questions on that letter? No? And then the second item is Bring Back Main Street from the Canadian Urban Institute, the playbook that's been prepared. I think it's just for information, Angela, unless you want to speak to it at all.
No, it's just for information. I believe it's on the website, is it? I'm not sure if we've.
I haven't gotten it.
And we can add it to the website so members can see it.
What's interesting here is they're doing things like pickup zones, and they're opining or producing collaterals or materials on how to effectively roll out things like, eat your street is what they call it, which is doing a pickup zone, organizing a pickup zone, back to basics, innovative approach to Main Street design. So there's a whole bunch of support materials here. I'm not sure how we want to use it, whether we take it back to committees for beautification, events, promotions, community development. There's something in it for everybody in here in terms of addressing some of our stuff. So, or do you want to give it to Angela to go, hey, do you want to bring what's relevant to our committees?
I wouldn't mind taking a look at it from a marketing perspective and maybe see if there's anything there that we can bring forward to the next meeting.
It's a resource, I guess, for everyone to bring into their committees. Yeah, okay.
So every committee chair should have one, at least.
Yeah. Okay, great. Do we need motions for the correspondence or anything? Or no?
To accept for information.
Okay, can I get a mover on Isaac, seconder Matt? All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Angela, Andrea,
Yes.
Jeanette,
Yes.
Michael? Okay, he's not in. Excellent, thank you. Okay. We
There
have,
was one other thing that Kyle had requested,
sure.
that there be a resolution for a formal letter regarding the loading zones.
Okay, do you want to, I'm not sure what the issue is. Do you want to keep us?
Oh,
wanna let us
sure.
know?
That was the purple sidewalks. The purple. So I had approached Sue after talking with Ivano about possibility of in some, I think we identified 5 locations that we paint in front of these businesses a different color, like a purple, and those are identifiable then for people for pickup and delivery, mainly for the food industry. So, I think what we suggested was outside or very close to like Pizza Muno. And there was one that was on Simcoe Street, north of Bond, one on Bond, just west of Simcoe. So they're strategically placed to benefit the businesses, but they're designated as just pickup and delivery. So if someone isn't, getting skip the dishes, but has ordered and want to come in and pick, that locations where they can pull in, go get their food, and then.
This is specific to a specific business?
No,
That's-
specific to an area.
Okay,
So I don't believe it's right outside of Pizza Muno, but it's close to Pizza Muno.
Is
one of them, is one example.
In that area, there's a few restaurants.
Exactly.
And they are agreeing to basically deliver food in that designated area. Is that the
Well,
idea, or-
no, it's if you personally are going in.
Yeah.
So let's say you're going to Chowmeeches.
Yeah.
Somewhere along there's going to be a purple sidewalk.
Yeah.
Or a purple strip. You can pull in there, you're not going to get a ticket while you run in and grab your food and then leave.
Okay.
So
And like
that's.
a 5 or 10 minute parking where you
Yeah,
park
I
there, you
got you.
run
So
and
it's
grab
a
your food
pickup
and
zone.
then come.
Yes.
Yeah.
More for parking.
Yeah, it's not the restaurants will
Okay.
bring the food to you. It's just a designated parking spot that is
Okay.
rotatingly available.
Well, it could be they bring it to you. I guess it's the
And
arrangement
this
you
was-
make with them.
Yeah, that's which,
So-
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
This was
more
a-
of the parking arrangement.
Yeah,
more
so this was
okay.
an initiative that we thought would be good. If, especially if things get rolled back and we go, businesses can't have people in the restaurants and stuff, but it's, there are still some businesses that are just doing only pickup and delivery.
And is bylaw monitoring or patrolling, because obviously the one issue that could happen is somebody parks there indefinitely, right?
I'm not sure. We just took that to Sue,
Okay.
and Sue has been working with the city and the different departments on getting this going
So what are
forward.
we being asked to do?
We're being asked to write a formal letter, just requesting that,
That this be
yeah,
implemented?
considered and implemented.
Please consider that means less parking.
Well, it's certainly going to be that for sure, but.
Referring to your parking.
Yep. So do we, so she wants a letter. So is that letter coming from me? As the
Well,
chair? Yeah,
From the
like we'll
board,
vote,
yeah.
yeah, okay, from the board, but
Yeah.
we're voting on that. We'll draft the letter. You don't have the letter, obviously.
No. Yeah.
So why don't we put if you want, we'll leave it to the administrative folks to draft the letter. We'll sign it on behalf of the board, but give her the authority to draft the letter, or do you want to see the letter and approve it before we send it?
I guess the issue is now is to have a vote whether we're going to do the letter or not.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I get that's what you're after, right?
Yeah, well, that's what Kyle was requesting before he left.
Sure. Does anyone, sure, let's take a look at the letter first.
I think as long as it's time limited during COVID, I agree that we can't afford to give up parking, but since parking is ample right now with COVID going on, it just makes sense
Yeah.
to accommodate.
So use the wording.
Time limited.
So I guess for the letter outside of it, I guess there's two parts to this. One is, do we want to set that in motion? The other is, do we want to look at the wording to ensure before we send it? So I get, you may not want to be in support of sending anything to go, okay, get this, but your perspective is, depending on how it's worded, you would support it.
I think I'd be in the same camp as that as well,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Glenn?
But is this just for till COVID's over, or
Yes.
is this?
That's all how it's worded.
Yeah, yes. This is intended just during the pandemic.
But is there an issue with them parking and getting food now? I mean, you don't pay for parking anyway, so they're not getting tickets. So I don't see
No,
what the
but I
advantage-
think the issue is that you will have someone park on the street all day. And then this way you don't have an area for anyone who's coming to pick up and deliver to stop in and grab stuff. So it's designed to help the businesses so that they can, have a designated area where someone can pull in, pick up their food and leave.
Delivery drivers, or are we talking about just
Anyone.
people ordering their takeout?
Anyone ordering their takeout.
I guess a question to you, Angela, and maybe Sue, is has this been derived from the culinary sector? Has this been an ask? Where is this coming from?
This was from the office. It was a way of, in the summer, we were asked to think of some ideas if we rolled
Okay,
that.
so our office or the city?
Yeah, no, our office as some sort of initiatives that we would be able to help the businesses with.
It's in support of the businesses,
Yeah.
the restaurant community, for sure. I mean, if you're asking us, did we survey them? No, we didn't, but in essence, it's what the communities in that sector want.
Well, we know that for sure. Like the
Oh,
sector
yeah.
reached out to us and said this is.
Oh, they're doing it
Yeah.
everywhere else. I mean, if you think of Toronto and all those other places, you see it on the TVs. It's how the cities are supporting the local restaurants as they get into the stage 2 and wind back to facilitate the economy in that industry.
And I think it's leveraged too as a point of marketing by saying, hey, we have these purple zones to encourage people to come and take and do pickup. Because I'm familiar with it in other jurisdictions, and that's kind of the selling feature to try to generate more people coming down.
I think it's supportive. I mean, I get your points, the points that are raised around, yeah, it's gonna make parking even a bit more miserable, but yeah, during COVID, there's not as much downtown activity. It's still free parking. I think it's more.
Sue has her hand up.
Sure.
Limited to COVID.
Sure. Go ahead, Sue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've pretty well, I don't know if I can answer any more questions. All this is really is this, so maybe this came out of the culinary sector, the businesses asking for this, and this was brought up actually a few months ago during the Mayor's Recovery Task Force as one of the options of trying to help out businesses. So what we've done actually, and Angela, and thanks for all your support on this, is, Angela and I have walked, our team has walked and looked at 5 areas that would actually take in most, because we do know we have a cluster of our businesses and restaurant businesses that are clustered in kind of 5 zones there. So what's happened is we have a map. I'll actually I'll send that through to Angela, but really all that we're looking for right now is that a resolution from the board saying, yes, we do support this. And what that means is then that the Commissioner of Community Services, Ron Diskey, is following up with the mayor to discuss the action plan. And then the commissioner has the delegated authority to change the traffic bylaw to implement these parking restrictions. So we've got all these questions of, is it gonna be 10 minutes? Will bylaw control this, et cetera, et cetera. This is just the beginning phase step to say, yeah, you know what? We as a board, we endorse this for our businesses. And then, because we're trying to get them to start the process. This has been an ongoing discussion for the last 3 months. So with that being said, you have lots to weigh in. This is just the first step of your commitment that you want to see this in the downtown.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, so how should we word this motion? Are you okay with a letter? And then the next question is, do you want to see the wording? I think you've heard the discussion around what we want to do.
I'm just trying to get more education on it.
Sure.
So if they've already done a map, I'd like to see that proposal map first before. Because again, just speaking for myself specifically, like I got a lot of parking spots just recently stripped out in front of all my buildings. So I'd like to get a little bit more in depth. That's just myself personally.
Fair enough.
So the motion would be that we would make up a letter and have it.
We'd be in support of designated pickup zone, call it a designated pickup zone during COVID in support of the restaurant community. And then I guess the question is subject to review of the wording, or just have the letter, have her come up with it, I'll sign it and send it.
No, I think subject to review.
Okay, subject to our review.
Yeah, or like that we can be a stakeholder in the implementation process.
Sure.
Or whatever, right?
So okay, so let's work on that motion, and we'll vote on that in a second. So it'll be motion to support drafting a letter for board input in support of designated pickup zones for the restaurant communities in the downtown core during COVID period. Sorry, holy smokes, there's a lot of qualifiers on that. Does that make sense?
I guess the problem I have with saying during the COVID period is that it's very ambiguous as well too, because what defines the COVID period, right? Like,
Well,
so,
that's well, it would be when the city stops allowing free parking. Like when they, to me, that would make is when they would say, okay, this is like just a parking's free downtown right now.
So okay, why don't we call it the COVID response? So when they stop responding directly to COVID, it could be vaccine, whatever.
Yeah.
Somehow the city will declare that over. I think that that could be a year, could be 6 months. I don't know. Let's leave it to them.
Yeah.
But
I'm back again. Maybe Sue could weigh in. Isn't the city in a the city still has a state of emergency declared? Because isn't that the reason we got through our motion the last time at the AGM to allow for the online voting? Was part of that wording of that motion is, well, the city is in a state of emergency for COVID or something like that. So not sure if that's the case, or Sue, if you have any input on that.
Sorry, I don't know if I understand your question, Michael. So you're asking if the city is doing this because of state of emergency?
No, the question is, when is it declared over? So is this until the city then reinstitutes paid parking?
I don't believe it's, Glenn, I don't believe it's just because there's no paid parking right now. Is that even if, for example, the free parking continues for a while, I think what this came out of the culinary sector was they're looking for something. I know, I think Angela came up with, and I don't know what the color will be, came up with a purple color, is they wanted still a designated area that is for pickup. So if it's free parking and I stop in front of, a store for 2 hours, I'm now blocking someone else who could actually stop in and pick up from Chow Michi, et cetera.
Right. So
Two separate issues.
Back to my point for when we could put in a timeline to tighten that up is on April 6th, the city of Oshawa declared a state of emergency. I'm just wondering, is that state of emergency still, that hasn't been taken away? Like the provincial government is no longer in a state of emergency, for example. But I believe the city of Oshawa's state of emergency declaration continues. So I was just wondering, do you know for sure if that's the case?
I don't know. I have to verify. I believe it is, but I have to verify. And I guess before getting in the nitty gritty, all that we're looking for, and sorry for my stumbling, but I just found that out just a minute ago that you do need to put in a letter of support. So I can find out more about that, but I think it's just the first step to start to move whenever. And I think, you know, whenever we do something at the city with that involves the downtown, is we're looking to make sure that this is what you guys want and you're supporting. So right now it is just to say, yes, we endorse this, but I think there was a comment you might have made, someone, that based upon your review is there's many steps to go on this. And maybe they'll say there won't be 5 spots, maybe it'll be 4, maybe there'll be 6, but it's just and you need to be a partner in those decisions as they go along. So this is just your first to say, yes, we endorse this, to really explore it, if I may.
So we're gonna put a qualifier on it, Sue, and call it COVID
Yeah.
response, because
Sure.
I mean, at the end of the day, we'll have a feel that there's gonna be a termination point. COVID's not gonna last forever, I guess. I don't know, I can't say that. But I think we just put COVID response and leave it at that. Whether it's a state of emergency or whether it's provincial, local, or whatever.
Or we just say that we endorse the consultation and the
to move the next
discussion
steps.
of it, to
Sure.
move, not that we endorse it, because how can we endorse it when we don't really know the specifics of it?
Yeah, fair enough.
So we endorse
the next
the
step.
concept and exploring the idea maybe. Or something.
Yeah. Okay.
That we'd like to be a stakeholder in the.
Great. And so you still want the caveats of looking at the letter? Because I think we're getting to
Not
the
if we
wording.
word it that way, we don't have to.
Okay, well, okay.
Okay.
That's up to you, but I mean, I'll either way, I'll support it. If it's worded that way.
Okay.
So I need to know how you guys want this worded. So I have motion to endorse the concept.
City, or the city exploring the concept.
Okay, so.
Or discussing, I don't know.
Yeah.
The concept, yeah, okay.
Exploring the concept of a designated pickup area for
Yeah, designated
takeout,
pickup
takeout
zones.
food industry or whatever.
Subject to the necessary steps for approving community approval.
Yeah.
Consultation and approval. That's your word, you wanted consultation in there.
Yeah.
During the code, in
Okay,
response.
I'm back at subject to. I can't write that fast.
Sorry.
Subject to consultation and approval of.
Final plan.
With it being worded that way, I don't think we have to qualify the COVID thing.
I'm good with it.
To me, that's.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay.
In that case, I don't feel like I need to see the letter.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
So you don't have a view, Cindy? Glenn?
Yeah.
Matt, I know you. Yeah, okay, I got it. Peter, are you good with that wording in that motion before we actually table it? He's not on.
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
Yeah, no, yes, I'm good, thanks, yeah.
Andrea?
Yes.
Jeanette, are you good with the wording?
Yes.
Okay, so now we get, Glenn, do you want to move it?
Mhm.
Okay, Glenn will move it. We need a seconder?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Michael. Oh, sorry, Michael, I forgot to ask you on the wording. I'm so sorry about that.
No, I'm old chop liver over here. No big deal.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Michael?
Yes.
Jeanette?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Great, carried. Yeah, I know. Okay. So Angela, you're gonna draft a letter, I'll sign it. Sue, when do you need it by?
Well, as soon as possible. I just resent. I sent you, Ivano and Angela, back in September 9th, an email with the map of the proposed curbside areas. I've just sent it. If you want to share it with the group, that would be good. The map. Please don't get hung up on that, because that's from Angela and I walking and trying to collect as many as possible. If you can get that, we're trying to push this along through the city. So if you could just, whatever, you can get it today or tomorrow, that'd be great, because also as you know, Ivano, the mayor's recovery task force is on tomorrow. So it'd be great to have an update on that.
We'll get you some.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Two things are left. One, we have to go into camera for one item. And then the new business, I wanted to cover the city special council meeting. What's your preference? Do you want to skip the council meeting update and just go right into camera, or do you want to do both and gonna drag you maybe 15 minutes past stop time. We good? Are you guys good online to go another 15 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to new business where we're gonna cover off the city council meeting. We talked a little bit about it. You've seen the information materials. There were 3 areas of concern for me that I did follow up, and I've sent you guys copies of that. One was Rosemary was concerned about the lack of people at our AGM in terms of volume of people. I tried to correct her perspective on that to say it's probably not bad. It's actually pretty good from the 2 years I've been on. Glenn, you've been on the board for a lot longer. I mean, do you get more than 30 people showing up in your previous history?
No.
So I corrected that. The other thing was, I think she thought we had a couple of weeks runway to review the report, and she was criticizing us. I thought unfairly, but I think she's corrected it when I gave her the dates. We all got it at the same time the public got it. There's no way we could actually have a board meeting, not even give an advance notice to people who have to be at that meeting. I don't think she knew that, so I think I corrected that. Jane Hurst was concerned about the incorporation, so I sent a real detailed follow-up. I didn't handle the question well. I wasn't expecting to get those questions really at that meeting. I was just expected to provide our update, so I didn't think it was going to lead to any dissolution motion or anything like that. But anyways, they had detailed questions. So I think I've cleared the path for her on that. I think her view of it was some sort of legal structure that was going to create a separate entity and break away from some board. She thought it was going into a place that I go, no, it was just solely to register as a not-for-profit. So we have access to funds, and our strategy there around not burdening the levy payers, because there's a lot of feedback around not increasing levies or not dramatically increasing them, but still the need to do more. So access to grants and things was our pivot point. She got it. She's good with that. And then the last one was John Gray around the accounting side. His point was more about, is about all the feedback we've been getting about posting financials, making sure they're accurate, making sure they're reflective of professional status. And the question is, and I didn't quite put your name out there, Isaac, but we brought you on there. I'm not an accountant. I don't even have an accounting designation. I just know the numbers. So this whole theory, everybody started jumping on this, the way we present things and whether it's accounting standards or not. But I think they got the message. There's, we could probably button ourselves down a little better. But I think the key takeaway was me hitting in both the treasurer and the chair position. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned to you, I didn't think it was fair to saddle you with this. I'm going to have to ride out the storm until we clear the audit. Yeah. And then we'll do some structural changes. But I think everybody was good with that when they felt that we had somebody with more designation. So I think that was the 3 things that I had.
Yeah, I guess one other thing to add, just through some other dialogue I had with Councillor Hurst. So, I know that she definitely brought up the point that she's concerned with understanding if members are generally supportive of paying the levy or not. Like it's kind of more in black and white, right? Not whether or not they agree with the levy increase or if they agree with obviously we took our budget to the AGM and it passed, right? But she's just trying to get a sense of are members supportive of paying a levy period or not, right? So I mean, the question, I know we've had discussions, do we have a good pulse right now? I know Angela and Taylor, you guys have been out there asking.
So it's kind of the value equations. I think that's the taxation issue that's been raised several times, that they feel taxes are just generally too high, and we're a level of tax on a tax. So, if it's a question of lower taxes, the question then becomes, do you eliminate the levy or do you lower your property tax? That whole thing around what is the real issue? Yeah. My concern would be if they don't see the BA of value, then fine. I mean, that's the real question on the table. Yeah. As opposed to just taxes in general. So hopefully we can correct her view on that, because
for sure.
Because I think that question is going to be, do you feel there's people who don't feel the taxes are apportioned correctly, right?
That's right.
I don't know how the levy comes into that, other than the fact that they're just not happy with taxes. But I'm more concerned that, hey, are they supportive of the BIA and what they do and the value they get? And that's the whole thing, is it fair value for money?
That's right.
So, good, okay, well.
So that's the one perspective, I mean, that recently came up just through some discussions. You know, again, I know I have my own individual perspective. I know I've talked to several members as well too, so I've got somewhat of a pulse of what people feel, but I don't have the pulse on everybody, and I know that's where the collective can hopefully get a pulse, and again, we're getting feedback and dialogue from members and whatnot. So yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to help fill some of that in, I guess, as the weeks go on, I guess.
Yeah, so my concern about it is a survey is being drafted for membership, and that's got to go back to council for approval before it's distributed.
That's right.
Which I don't know the exact wording of the motion that came up, but it really is about support or dissolve the BIA, I guess. I don't think those words are used exactly, but I think it's in there somehow.
And do we have a good pulse on the process that they're following? Like,
no, I think I expect to be engaged on who is a member and where does it go, and you know, some sort of element. I don't think we get approval of the survey, but I think we expect to be engaged on process.
Yeah, because I know there's been a lot of discussion around who is a member. There's been some discussion that, you know, this individual over here may not be a member. You know, I've heard a lot of that dialogue happening in the last year or two.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to hear from them. You know, what is their process? How are they? Who are they contacting? How are they arriving at who's a member? Those sorts of things. I mean,
Sue, can we ask you to do a follow-up to see if there's an actual official engagement, or whether we're just going to be given an update through you or somebody going, here's what the next step is? Do you know if you can take it back to come somehow cycle us in on the process, if that's okay?
Sure, absolutely, Ivano. Just to give you an update, we have a meeting no, sorry, it's another on Welcoming Streets. There's too many meetings going on here. So just to give you an update from the clerks, as I've been in constant communication with them, is that at this point, it's not a matter for the BIA to discuss. This is council's directed staff on how to prepare a report on how we'll do the survey. So we don't know, I do not know that yet, is that they will then direct us, staff, on how that survey will be done.
Sure, but
and then we'll update you.
Sure, but you know, my perspective on it is, do you want to seek our input on it or not? We're happy to give it. I guess we're not officially asking for that status. We're just saying, if you would like input, let us know. If not, let us know as well.
Is that a don't call us, we'll call you? So at this point, it is a direction coming from the CAO.
I can ask Paul if you want me to do it. I just thought if you're there, if you're happy to see him.
I'm just trying to be clear on this, Ivano. This is a direction that I've received from clerks, which is from Paul. Sure. So just if you can lead us with that, once they make the decision on how the process will work, how the survey will work, then you will know.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
No timeline. Yeah, there's no timeline on that, is there, Sue?
Well, there is a tight timeline, but I don't know yet. I'm waiting for direction from the CAO, from Paul, and so we will know that shortly.
Okay.
But yeah, it is a tight timeline, absolutely.
The 6 recommendations we talked about, we're going to break them out to committees. Some of it's underway. So, Michael, I know you've started working on some of them, and then you've provided an update. Anything to opine on that?
No, it's just we're going to wait. We have to kind of a wait and see, because a lot of the updates regarding governance is regarding training and involvement of the city clerks. So the report was pretty clear that they're going to reach out and start to arrange that. But I expect that won't happen until after this motion before the city is resolved one way or the other, because that makes sense to me. If the organization is going to be dissolved, then there's no need to go into all of that work. If it's not, then they're going to engage, and we'll work with the city's staff to do up the documents.
Great. Any other questions for? Any other questions, Jeanette, Andrea, Peter?
No, all's well here.
Great.
I'm good.
What I want to talk about is we talked about it early in the strat plan. I mean, we have 8 weeks left in the year. We have some funding to bring somebody in to push us over the finish line on that. regardless of whether we exist or don't exist, you know, my strategy or approach is, hey, we got to land 2021 running with going out. We've got a budget that's out there. Yes, there's going to be a process. If we dissolve, somebody will take that strategy and, you know, if we dissolve, it likely folds up to the city. At least that document or plan goes up there. Do we want to do that? Get somebody engaged in? You talked about Helen or somebody else, or
Helen Rake. I mean, there's no cost.
well, I don't know. Well, we could either look at that, or we brought in somebody last time. We did.
They did, but no. So Matt's right. Every time that Helen Drake has helped us, which I think has been twice, there's been no cost to the BIA. When Garth brought the person in, there was a cost. To
Sure.
the BIA.
And having gone through both, I'll be honest, there was more value with Helen. Like I got more out of Helen facilitating than the
Fair enough.
fellow. Yeah.
So we'll look at exploring that. But do we want to get somebody in to help out with what we're doing? I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm running ragged. And I know these ladies are. Do we want the idea is to kind of get somebody to help organize ourselves for 2021?
Yeah, it just keeps us focused, and she did a great when
she'll run the strategy session, but
No, but you're talking about hiring an ED or another staff member.
or getting somebody in to take care of what's facing us. Like think of the communication, getting the strat plan going, trying to get that going. I mean, there's 8 weeks left. I'm for getting some help in between now and the end of the year. I think we have to do strategy. I think we have to set plans in motion. We're meeting as committees still.
But
Work
it
has to
takes,
get done.
it's gonna take a month or two to even get somebody. It's like, I don't know that.
We'll put a call out for somebody.
I'm
Even if we
not
get-
opposed to that if we have the funding.
Yeah.
If we have the budget for it.
I think we do.
Are we looking just to do the strat planning?
I think the strat plan and take on whatever comes up between now and the end, communicating with members. Like you've seen the activities that we're involved in. We're pulled into everything.
So are you talking about hiring an ED?
Not hiring. I think we need some help. It's not hiring. Hiring's a different process, I think. I think we got to get
Yeah, I'm
somebody
not
to
sure
help
what you're
us.
talking
Well, I think even if we bring Helen in, because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's
but
a starting point.
we need somebody to help organize, structure, plan, oversee, because I know Ivano has taken that on, and I don't think that's fair to ask.
No, it's
him
not
anymore.
fair to
I tried and I burnt out, so I
Well, I
backed
think the
off.
first thing is to plot the course. I'm just being honest, is to plot the course strategically, and then we know sort of what workload is ahead of us. But again, in that strat plan, we have to be realists as to what we're going to achieve in the time and how long that strat plan is going to be. And that'll be part of the process when we engage, if it's going to be Helen, what her recommendations would be if we just do it for the remaining time that we're sitting, or do we look past the time that we're sitting?
I would look past it. I think it's not, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, but at that point, it becomes a recommendation then once after this board sits, whether the next board takes it on or they do their own strat plan.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think for everybody at the table and even the subcommittees, just to have the blueprint.
Yeah.
Cemented, and then that's our measuring stick. And then every board meeting, we always revert back to that strat plan. Where are we? What have we achieved?
Yeah. Okay. So
Just
but
a
these are
suggestion.
two different issues. Well, I think they're kind of overlapping. I think Helen facilitates. I don't think she doesn't. I'm saying we'll participate.
Yes.
But somebody has to take everything, put it together,
No,
compile a
Helen
result.
Helen does that.
Helen does that. She
Yeah.
gives you a document at the end.
Yeah.
So we just as a board have to commit our time, unfortunately more of our time, to commit to a couple of meetings to do that strat plan. She will put everything together and give us a nice report if she's willing to. Hopefully, fingers crossed, she's willing to facilitate again. But when we've used her in the past, quite impressed with what she did for us.
Okay. Sue, can you? I don't know this lady, so she's still
I can
around.
check. Yeah, I don't know if she's still around.
I think she is. Yeah.
Helen Brake's been off on sick leave.
Oh, great. Okay.
So do I go to Plan B?
What is your timeline for launching this?
Well, it's, I'm looking at, look, I know we've got a lot in front of us with a lot of questions and doubts. I'm looking at it, when you face these things, you do the best thing you can, but you continue on as an organization. I don't think we lose anything by developing something that someone will take. If we pivot and move out of the game, somebody will need something to pick up. Our members are sitting there waiting to go, well, what's next?
Yeah.
What happened? Can you imagine the city picking this up and not being ready? So you guys don't have the staff to do this, right?
No, I think my recommendation to you, at least in my opinion, is I believe really you're in a bit of a holding pattern now. I think the key right now is this survey has to be done, has to be reported back to council. So I don't know if I would be jumping in doing a strat plan right now and bringing in an outsider to facilitate that, be it Helen Brake or someone else.
I appreciate your view. I don't agree with you, but I think you gotta continue on.
Yeah.
I think you continue on
You
as if
can't
you're.
just sit in limbo. You just
Exactly.
have to continue on as if no survey going on and we're just continuing on.
And if whoever picks it up thinks it's bad strategy, then they can redo it if they like, but you land into 2021 with a plan. We have a budget, it's not lined up to a strat plan or anything. We have committees that are meeting to talk about what we're gonna do in 2021 without a strat plan. I think we gotta cover the space.
I think there's risks in not doing it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you sit in a holding pattern. You know, if our members don't think we provide value before, they're really gonna say you're not providing value now. At least we can start communicating what the plan and vision would be while the survey goes
We
out.
just continue on.
Can you imagine the survey doesn't go out till January or February?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it won't be.
I don't know. That's
No, they don't even have a plan as to how it's gonna happen.
Absolutely. I think we need a plan. I think we need a strategic plan that guides us down the road. And if it's not us, somebody will take it and use it. We did a lot. Well, you were here the last one. I wasn't here, but the 2015 to 2019 plan. Were you here? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you said Helen did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sue, you have your hand up again?
Yes, whoops. Yes, sorry, I was on mute. No, I truly appreciate your concern, Ivano, and also to the whole board. You guys have been working so hard, it's unbelievable. So let me, if you'll just indulge me, let me take this back to the city and see what we can find for support.
And barring that, do you want us to go look for somebody and put a call out to the people we might have used?
Well, let me find out also if there's another Helen Brake and who's replacing her and what's going on there. So this, if you don't mind, I've made a note of this. Just leave it with me, and I'll circle back with you, Ivano, and to the board.
So do we need a motion for any of this stuff or no? No.
No.
So barring having the external support from the city or whatever to get us going, should we go look for somebody as a plan B?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We can at least inquire.
Yeah.
Set up
Well, because
some
we're not going to
time.
meet again for a month. So the idea is to either bring somebody in or get to a conclusion on somebody, whoever that somebody is, and then start working on, here's what it looks like. Here's the old plan. Give us the process, set up the time to meet. So somewhere between November and December, we're going to get together on this. Okay.
I was voluntold to be chair of the hiring committee before this all happened. So we drafted kind of a job description kind of sort of thing for leadership in the office and to oversee some of the stuff that Yvonne and I had covered off. So that's kind of in the works already. We have some drafts, so we're not starting from scratch.
So we'll figure that out and just call it a small engagement to do the strat first thing.
So it would be contract, I assume?
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, I don't think we can bring anybody in. At least that's the way I see it. I don't know.
So contract to the end of the year?
Yeah. Well, as long as it takes to do this thing. Or when we run out of money. We don't have money coming in in January, so. Okay.
So this was already motioned and decided on at the last board meeting?
Well, I think when we were dealing with our last situation, we had sort of looked at.
Well, we recognized we needed some coverage, so not hiring an ED per se, but getting some help for leadership in the office.
Yeah, I think the report from the city was pretty clear that we've got in our terms of reference and hiring policy and all of that stuff, some pretty strict limitations on what we can do without city approval. So casual part-time would be I think the only thing we would be available to us as a board to make that decision without getting approval from council. It's my interpretation anyways.
Does that help you? Good. Should we get a motion for this or no?
Can I just make a comment? Is that possible?
Probably not, because if you're going to be in disagreement, I probably would cut you off on that one. But if you
No, what I just want to comment on, in the report that was presented to council, the financial review from page 233 to 267, It's a series of things that went wrong and within controls within the board and within the accounting. And what I would recommend that you plug those leaky holes in the vote. And that just requires going through each item that was articulated in the report and making sure there's a process to plug that.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's in motion for sure.
So
That's
getting
already
back
happening.
to basics
Yep.
is, I think, with respect what the board needs to do, because there is no financial controls in place. And there's been expenditures made that really don't hold value for money, as an example.
That's an opinion, and I'll take exception to no controls. I think you're right. There's some
Not
leaks
to
and
worry,
things.
I will send you a letter with.
It's okay. Thank you for that.
Okay.
So the issue around getting back to basics is we need a strategy, and we're going to go ahead. Do we need a motion to do that or no?
Well, we're leaving it with, to be honest, I don't know.
Michael, do we need a motion to go ahead and proceed with this or no?
What are we, I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Are we saying we're going to hire somebody to create a strap plan for us? We can't wait until Sue circles back. Like, we just need to have a start on it right away. I mean, I'm not sure what we're looking to do with the strap
Michael,
plan.
we're not going to meet again until a month from now. My concern is there's 8 weeks left. There's work to get done. We're looking for the approval to go ahead and secure a part-time resource.
If the city can't provide it.
If this, well, the city's looking, we're gonna talk to the last guy who did it, and we're gonna look for others to support this.
I think there should be a motion so that
You've got
there's a clear direction to
Yeah.
go ahead with it.
So Michael, the issue here is to, in the 8 weeks that's left in the year, to draft a plan, strat plan, conduct the strat planning session with the board, get that item covered off. So that we at least have the last piece of the documents, notwithstanding some of the holes in the boat we have to plug that are leaking, which we're doing, we're in motion with that. And then get us going into 2021 the way we need to be going with a full plan. Strat plan, gaps closed. Our report and our update to the city council was Q1 2021. We have those items covered off to get that work done. And we're working our way through COVID.
So how do you want to word the motion?
I don't know. That's all of that.
Well, motion of the board to is to endorse the creation or work on a strategic plan for 2021. I think is fine, and that would be board membership of support of that. I think the ins and outs would have to be further explored and thought out before we made any firm decisions on things like hiring for that. So I would say just keeping it basic, if that's what you want. If the concern is let's get started on a strat plan, we certainly can have a motion of the board to endorse moving forward with the strategic plan for 2021.
Does that mean securing the resources, Michael, in your opinion?
I would want to have confirmation from the city that we would be permitted to secure what specific resources we were asking for before committing to that as a board.
What does that look like in your view, Michael? Me asking the city clerk or
Yeah, well, I would say we would need to know what we're asking for first. So you can, that's the endorsing a strategic plan. We would have to plan for what exactly that looks like and what we're going to ask for. And then if we're going to, before doing any hiring, my recommendation would be, yes, going to the city clerk and getting approval for that prior to making any commitments of the board to do so.
That's logical. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, step one is to work with the city, see if they can provide someone, because in the past they have.
Yeah.
So the history's there, the precedence is there. If they can't provide somebody, then, you know, we as board recognize that it's an integral part of an item that we have to action on in order to go. So then that would give us then
Secure a resource to do it. And then
Correct.
Michael's point is before we do that, make sure you get that confirmation from the clerk.
100%. Yeah,
Is everyone, we got that covered?
Yep.
Okay. Angela, you got that all down?
Almost.
Okay. Sorry, Peter, Andrea, Jeanette, any comments?
No, I'm in agreement with Michael.
another resource we could lean on?
Yes, I think I agree with Michael. I think it's best to consult with the city first before I proceed.
Is the institutions as well, perhaps?
Yes.
Perhaps they've got experts up there.
That's what I'm looking at. We got a short time. I'm gonna try to look at whatever.
Yeah,
we
so
can
option
get.
one is if we could do it, obviously $0.
No questions there, my friend. You know me. I'm not gonna spend it if I
And
don't have
someone
to.
to facilitate.
Yeah.
But because it is an integral part and important, that we want to make it known also to the city that
Okay.
if we can have it facilitated
Yeah.
for
Okay.
zero,
Well,
we'll
so-
have to engage.
Well, I think we're all aligned that way. Do you want to?
Okay, so just to reiterate, what I have for the motion is to endorse creation/work on strategic plan for 2021. I didn't know if you guys wanted the other caveats in or just that's the motion, but our process is that we're waiting to hear back from the city.
It's clear to me. I mean, it's not about just going out and hiring the first one who walks down the street. We're pursuing the no-cost resourcing that's either delivered from the city, support people like OnTech, and or the people who might have done it in the past who are familiar with it. But barring all of that, to keep moving forward, before we secure a resource, that we seek the input from city clerk on whether we can or can't. Is that fair?
Okay, I have a motion.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good.
To explore the securing of outside help, whether it's city or whoever, for the purpose of facilitating direction of the future of the board and implementing recommendations from the city. Is that?
That's not a strategic plan, but yeah, I mean, that would work too. Put strategic plan and that. I mean, that's essentially doing the work.
I agree with Glenn, because there's work that needs to be done, and I mean, our office staff are tapped out. I tapped out a while ago. You're on the verge of tapping out. Who's gonna do the remaining of the year to wrap it up and like,
Close it out.
that's my concern too, in addition
Yeah.
to moving forward.
I really have to go. Are we having a motion on this or no?
We are, Peter. If you just give me a second, Glenn's just writing it down furiously here.
If you're putting out a call for this, then yeah, please send me as much detail as possible and I'll see if I can get someone from the university who's interested.
Thank you, Peter, for that again. Peter, when are you back?
It's looking like January,
Early or late?
probably early yeah, but we'll have to see. We're in full lockdown here now and
Okay, Glenn.
but yeah.
Glenn's got the motion. Go ahead, Glenn.
Explore the securing of outside help, that could be the city or unpaid or paid, for the purpose of developing a strategic plan for the board and implementing the recommendations of the city report.
Okay, you're moving it?
Yeah.
We have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you. Jeanette, thank you. All in favor? Yeah. Peter?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Jeanette?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Okay, we're done with that. We have to go in camera. Last, I think it's going to be quick. Michael, do you want to carry us to the in camera?
I don't have the wording of the motion, but motion that the board proceed to a closed session pursuant to the relevant section of the Municipal Act that permits us to do so, dealing with employment matters.
Great. So moved, seconded. Isaac, all in favor? Jeanette?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Carried. Okay, we're in camera. Just hang on.
Is there a second link being sent for this, a separate meeting link?
No, we just turn the recording off at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
And then when we come back in, we reset it. Or hopefully it just comes off the pause. Okay,
give
so
us-
I'm stopping it right now. Okay, it's on.
Okay, we're back. We're back in. Michael, can you get us a motion to come back in?
Yep, motion for the board to resume the open session.
Great. Seconder, Glenn, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Cool. Good.
So then second motion then would be motion of the Board of Management accept the discussions held in camera.
Matt? Glenn, all in favor?
Yes.
Jeanette? Peter?
Yes.
Great. Michael?
Yes.
Okay, now needs a motion to adjourn. We're done. Matt?
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Yes, good. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your patience. Sorry I dragged this a little longer.
Okay.
We did a lot. Okay, do you want to stop recording?
Take care, everybody.
Thanks.